So I basically made about $100,000 on. Oh, and they took 20%. And they took 20%.
$500 a month for 20%, and we're like talking like OG prize pools too. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was frustrating. Oh, let me add the final fucking nail to the coffin. Sorry, I don't know if I can cuss. But
no, you can swear. Please do. Go for it. You're good,
dude. I had negotiations with like other orgs at the time, where I was trying to get like bought out by other orgs. I was trying out back then. It was like squads, right? So you would like try out for other squads, and like one of the bigger tryouts I had was for Cloud9, and it was like Blind, Top Boy, and somebody else. I forget their name. And they're like, dude, we love CC. Great. We want him as a fourth. Like they had a 3-man squad from Cloud9. I was like, dude, I'm about to be on Cloud9. This is like.
Was it Hal? Sorry, was it Imperial Hal? Because he was on C9 at that time. Oh no, okay, never mind. Okay.
No, yeah.
I think by that point he was already out of Fortnite.
Oh, okay, he was out by that point. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, so they're like, dude, we want to sign CC. Let's go. Like, I'm like, dude, let's go. I'm about to like, Cloud9's about to pick me up. This is about to be like my dream org. Let's go. And then like, they're like, all right, we're going to talk. Like, I had Cloud9 talking to Gangstars. They were like getting conversation going. And then Gangstars this guy says, yeah, man, CC's buyout's going to be 50K. I was like, are you real? Is this real?
Dude, it's just so hard because it's like whenever we have these conversations, like you sign a contract, so it's kind of like it's in their rights, but it's like you're also like be a human being though, like you know what I mean? Like come on, like things have changed, and in Fortnite, like week on week things change, dude. Like you just have $100 million tournaments just announced on a random day. Like obviously circumstances change, but wow, you got hit with a 50K buyout, so you couldn't join C9. So how'd you get out of? So did your contract actually end right after WSOE, or you got out?
I was on it for about 9 months, and then like I was basically from the first 6 months, I was like, this is awesome. The last 6 months, I was like, get me out. And then, or like I guess less than that. But yeah, 9 months into my contract, right after WSOE, I was in the airport flying home, and I got a text from the owner. He's like, hey man, we're releasing you next weekend. You're good to go. Thank you for what you did. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. But like, yeah, and then 100 Thieves picked us up really fast. That was really cool. But
that was cool.
That
was sick. Yeah. You guys made some awesome content with that. You guys like went to the place. I remember that, bro. The original 100 Thieves stuff was so cool, and then like Nate shots there and stuff. That was sick.
No, dude, 100 Thieves and the content they did definitely formed me very much into the personality I am, like content wise.
It
was definitely a cool experience. Right?
No. They did it well. The original content. I remember Liquor was doing sick content at that point. 100 Thieves was doing really awesome content at that point. There was a few doing like NRG when like that was a bit after NRG started doing more of their content. But man, so those original like documentary style pieces are just so satisfying. They're just so fun to look at.
It's so fun to go back and like watch. Like I just saw something pop up on my YouTube. They did like so much that I didn't even realize back then. They did like player profiles, like something that Fortnite does now. They did that back then. Like I saw one on my it was like a Kenneth player profile. And
I haven't even seen that. Wait, I might have to go watch that. Kenneth was the GOAT, bro. Kenneth was so good.
It was awesome.
I loved Kenneth, man. Kenneth was really good. He was like
so fun to watch
from the start, like like he was there early squad scrim days. We got our first call already, by the way. We got our first call.
Ooh, get our first caller in. Let's
go. Let's jump in. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Gingy, and I'm calling from the good old United States.
Let's go.
Welcome. What is your take, Gingy?
Well, my question is, what do you think the most competitive season of Fortnite ever was, and why do you think that?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put it back on you first, though. What we got you here? Do you have a pick? What is your most competitive season?
I only started watching comp at around chapter 3, but I don't have like
some good choices.
Because I don't think there's been as many competitive seasons since then, but I think it would have to be one of like the later chapter 2 seasons. What I know.
Okay.
Because that's when I think Trios is probably the most competitive game mode that we've had.
You, Gingy, I've noticed you from my stream. That's basically my take. Gingy's given my take. And chat, whenever people ask me what's the most competitive season, I always say end of chapter 2. So I'll throw it to these guys.
Do you have a specific like end of chapter 2 meta that you have in mind, or is it just like?
I mean, because I'm trying to think which one was it. The trio. I'm trying to think because we had the 4 FNCSs in literally 2 seasons. I'm trying to think, was it Grand Royale? I know it was one of them was just insane. I'm trying to think exactly which one it was, and I can't. We've gone back so far. I think it was Chapter 2 Season 8. It was the last one. Chapter 2 Season 8 is definitely my pick. I think that was the most competitive season for me.
What was that meta? I can't even remember what that meta was, Chapter 2 Season 8.
It was basically just pumps, right? It was just pumps and like very little mobility. It was just launch pads, bounce pads, and pumps and stuff, wasn't it? I think. I mean, Cease, if you remember. But you're asking the 3, like, we've got so many metas in our head here.
I'm trying to like process. I can't tell you what each season was.
Oh, Peppers. Yeah, it was Peppers. Was it aliens? Not aliens, though. If it was aliens, I'm taking back my answer. I was 100% wrong. If it's aliens, I am retracting my statement. I apologize. Aliens was kind of goofy as. I thought it was end of chapter 2, but I might be misremembering. If I have to not say it's end of chapter 2, then I don't know. Cease, what's your pick then?
I think I'm trying to seriously think about this. I want to say back, like chapter 1 might have been one of the better competitive seasons because it was also simple back then. But I think off the top of my head, what's like pushing me to say this is Solo All Stars. I think was one of the better metas.
Yeah,
because like it had like the cow ball where you'd bounce around, but it was also it had a great, like there was enough loot on the map. Like it was like I think like maybe 2 weeks before that, it was like the black POIs, like the metal black buildings were kind of spread around the map. So those were like new solo spots that were added. Like it was really good timing for a solo event to come out. It wasn't like like this map is horrible for trios. Like it's just probably the worst trio map of all time. And then you had like that map, which was great for solos. It was like definitely a good combination of loot and meta.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
It's hard for me. I feel like in my head, the ones that come to mind are some of the earlier chapter 2 ones. Chapter 2 season 5, I feel like was a good one off the top of my head.
You got to remember though, like meta wise, those weren't horrible metas, but the controllers was just the whole conversation was controller.
Especially earlier, especially like
early chapter 2 was
especially like season 1, season 2, like the controller talk was really bad. I remember like it's hard for me to pick like a most competitive one. I remember season 1, outside of people complaining about controllers, like squad season 1, there wasn't really much in the game that could like mess you up. So
nade stacking 11? Yo, nade stack, bro?
Outside of nade stacking.
Other than your whole squad just dying instantly with grenades.
Squads was valid. Squads was good, actually.
Squad, like the meta, if it wasn't for nade stacking, like
if nades were out,
so actually no. Balanced meta, you know?
We're forgetting floppers, guys. It was Fish Mania. It was like it was.
I didn't mind that though. It was
insane, dude. I had a buddy back in the day where he would do a route. It was just infinite floppers the entire time. You'd have like 18 floppers in a single inventory.
Hey, people still do stuff like that now. You see people doing the cacti last season with bananas and medkits playing Storm. It was like people still do spam Storm metas, but this chapter 2, I think in general as a whole, just had like some of the more balanced metas.
Yeah,
that we've seen.
I have to agree with that one. I like that one as well. I mean, it's so hard though, because if we got a truly entirely balanced meta though, it would be so boring too. Like when you just mentioned there, imagine chapter 2 season 1, no grenades, no RPGs, no floppers. Like it's that style of game I feel like people always they say they want, but I feel like if we ever got it, that would be what kills competitive Fortnite. Like it would just be so repetitive and bland. I don't know. At least for me. Again, I'm watching more than playing. I don't know from a player standpoint, but I would get over that.
I'm not really sure. You disagree with like having a stale meta? Like you'd want like something.
I've always disagreed with that. I feel like people put too much in that. It reminds me of also like when people like do the thing when they complain about like game modes, or like we should change game modes because otherwise it'll get boring. It's like if for me the way I look at it is if the game, don't get me wrong, like some metas could be extremely boring, but in general it's like Fortnite and compared to Fortnite remains very similar to its core. And so it's like if things are boring, then like there's a deeper problem there. Either like the tournaments themselves just aren't satisfying because the storylines aren't interesting. Like there's like more to it. Like there's not like enough stakes. You could have people play rock, paper, scissors and it be interesting if there's high stakes. It's like I feel like the meta being like if it was like the chapter 1 meta and we didn't have RPGs and grenade stacking, like if you had a meta like that, I don't think it'd get boring. If it did get boring, I don't think it'd be because of that meta. I think there'd be, other reasons for that.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think from player perspective, I would be intrigued to see how like player development goes. I mean, you don't want to get into where we are right now, but I feel like if things don't change, I do start to see pros start to get a little bit bored. But I think the team game mode one, instantly you touched on that one. I feel like I want to see the team mode just swap for like just one season to add some spice in there. But man, I'm trying to think of if we had solos, trios, or squads for as long as we've just had duos, it would have ended up so much more boring than it currently has. And I think when everyone keeps talking about switching the game modes, they're just forgetting the fact that we now have an actual yearly based LAN system. Like that just doesn't work if you switch the game mode, I feel like anyway. Because like that this season, no matter how bad the meta is coming into this Grands, I'm going to be hyped because 10 teams from the 2 biggest regions are making LANs and that's it. No one else makes it. No more chances. That in itself, the stakes, makes it so exciting. You start switching the game mode and you don't have these big calls for LAN. And I do think Fortnite starts to slow down.
I would love to see solos introduced, like a solo all-stars every year. You're the champion of 2024 solo all-stars. that was a great, like, that year was pretty fun. It was, I think it was also trios and then solos.
Trios and solos.
And you qualified to solos by playing in trio grand finals. I remember we got like 15th place and we actually made it to solos. That was really cool. I also would love to see Fortnite. I mean, we're talking fairy tale now. I can't get into it. It's making me sick, dude. You can't you can't make these scenarios. It's not gonna happen. But I think it would be cool if they like gate kept, like, we're doing duos, like Saudi Esports World Cup, whatever. You guys do trios. Like, we can just split it up and like make it so it's like each type of broadcast side has like a different mode. I think that's really, really cool. I think that the Esports World Cup they've done so far is a great fix for that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention DreamHack carried that solo scene, and we had set lobby stacked like solo events every here and there that weren't linked to the regular competitive season and just kind of came on top of it. Was so nice. That is true.
I do think that also, not even talking about that, I forgot about that. The DreamHack like Swedens and stuff where you would travel 100K solos. So good. It's just like, you hate solos, but then you kind of need it to level you out. It's like it can't always be duos, and especially in LANs, like you need to have more solo LANs like that. Like, I love when they host
even from like a talent development perspective, like high level solos was like the best way to find new upcoming talent. You know, it's like you're not limited by having a crap teammate just because you ain't got enough earnings or PR. It's like you just do really well in like a big important solo event, and now you're on everybody's radar. Loads of people want to play with you, so I'd like to have that as well. Yeah.
Players like we've seen massive players come out of that. That is very true. We just haven't seen that for the longest time now. There's just hasn't been that. We had Red Bull, and that was interesting. Like, you know, Vico did well. Vico's crazy, but there was some issues for sure.
I think that's a big part with solos is meta matters. Like, a simple meta is really good in solos, and that's like the all-star meta was really simple. Some DreamHack metas have been really simple. Like, I mean, even like the online DreamHacks. I remember, I think it was the one that Stretch won. It was like, it was a couple mythics. You had like the mythic drum gun with the, you had a couple mythics around the map, but it was a fairly simple meta. It had the it was crash pads.
Yeah,
it was crash pads.
I remember like that was one of the first VOD reviews I did, and it was like crash pads and stuff, and it was fun. It was skillful. I think when it's solos, the stakes are so high, like Levin was talking about. You don't need the other craziness to just carry it. If you love Benji Fish and you're watching Benji Fishy, and he could die at any moment now, it's just super fun and exciting to watch in itself.
Yeah. I think if they were to host a LAN, like DreamHack was to host a LAN tomorrow with this meta, it would just, everyone would think this is the worst thing of all time. Like, they would hate it because it's a horrible meta for solos. Like, so it's
fair. Yeah, very fair. So what are we putting? So we're putting Alien Season, maybe end of Chapter 2. So it seems like we pretty much talked about all Chapter 2. So the Chapter 2 metas, basically most competitive metas as far as this call goes, anyway.
Yeah. I think All Stars, is that Chapter 2? Or when was that?
Yeah, All Stars is Chapter 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Dude, I'm looking at the leaderboard, some names. Pam, Stu, Casker, Kanata, Slacks, Tradix, Dubs, Bucky, Peterbot, Cease, Edgy. Then we had Tayson, Vino, Nebs, Kinzel, Reason, Trippern, Thomas, Fastroki. Like, dude, there's some names. On West, we had Batman, Booga, Epic Whale, Riverson. Like, dude, names that like back then you're like, who is Batman, Booga? Who is like, who are these players? And now they're like full on like competitive players. It's really sick. Solos does really shape competitive for sure.
Wow, those names are all so relevant now, but at the time it would have been like Peterbot, Batman, Boogie. Yeah, some of those names would have been like like these people suck. Like, where are these randoms coming from?
Who is Peterbot? Who is Peterbot? I always get that effect. Like, if you go back and watch the early DreamHacks, like go back and watch some of those early DreamHacks, you'll see players who like you're like, damn, he was around back then still, but it was just like he was just a complete random to the scene at the time. It was crazy. You get so much of that effect. We did kind of get sidetracked, but thank you very much, Gingy, for the question. That was nice.
You got three like OG boomer old heads in the call, and we're just gonna like go on like these massive rants of just like, oh, back in the day, man, like, oh, remember this and remember that.
Even Gingy saying like he got into comp in Chapter 3, like, that's crazy to me.
Crazy.
Like, that's like, you missed so much, man.
Like, yo, and you kept watching. Well done, man.
Honestly, bro, like, what kept you here? Like, why did you stay? Out of curiosity. Like,
basically, yeah.
Jeez. Cool. Like, are we ready for the next caller? Can we get next caller in?
I'm down.
Let's do it. In between, we have some new people helping us with production. So shout out to producer Play Quartz. We're trying something new with the show.
We getting fancy.
It may be a bit rough at the start. Yeah, we're trying to be fancy. You know, we saw you like the little intro at the start? Was that nice?
It was cool. Yeah, we're ironing out the kinks. I like it. This is nice.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice. All right, we got next caller ready.
Hello? Can everyone hear me?
Hello. We can hear you. What's your name and where you calling from?
I am Yared. I am from North America. And I just wanted to ask Cease, like he's had a long career in this space. I just wanted to know, like, what are the main factors that come into play when he's deciding to con a drop spot, like from beginning of season all the way to grands, and just like some factors I'm trying to talk about are just like, is the drop edge map, like who are you conning? Are they experienced? Are they known to leave? Are they like, is it a 50-50 drop? What's their ping? Like if you know where they are or whatever. And especially like, not to be a hater, but you are kind of later in your career, I'd say. So like in a grand finals lobby, I feel like you wouldn't be like the best fighter on the planet. So it's like I'm not throwing straight. I'm trying to be. I'm keeping it real a little bit. So I'm just, you know what I mean? In a dual lobby, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
I respect it.
yeah. So I just wanted to know, like,
he's just gone from the young WK of the lobby everyone hated to fight to now he's just disrespected as the old man IGL. Like it changes things.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, like, what are the biggest factors?
Whatever. Yeah, no, let's actually get play courts to boot up a screen share, and we'll just hop on a custom real quick, and then I'll meet you at my POI.
I'm down. Add me right now. I got you, bro. It's good. It's good. The game's launched. I'm updating right now. It's good, bro. Let me know.
No, but there's a lot in that question.
Yeah.
I can try to answer it for sure. So yeah, I mean, I think that firstly, when you're picking your spot, it kind of matters who's contesting you, and it kind of matters who comes after. Because like I could pick a spot, and then Booga could come, and I kind of have to leave. Not out of respect for Booga, and just respect for his skill, and just like in general, right? Like it's just gonna be too close. Like you don't need that matchup. Like I'm not. There's no point in ego fighting at this point, right? So it's kind of like who you're getting contested by, which matters a little bit. Like I remember last season, like. At Restored, there was like rumors of Kanata coming over because his yacht just got removed. He's like panicking. He's like, I'm going Restored, and I'm like, dude, come on, like, because it's just like it's not that I can't win against Kanata. I think I could win against Kanata, Booga, anybody. Like genuinely, I think I'm that good at off spawn that I can beat anybody, or I can outplay them in some way. But it's just not. You don't want that. Like it's why you don't see Booga and Kanata contesting each other. It's just not going to work. You're not going to be successful. It's impossible to be successful against a good team. So that's a big factor, right? Like, so if you're landing at a spot that could be over contested, you got to be careful. Like, for example, when I went Rave Cave, that was definitely a scary time because it was a great spot, but I ended up holding down a part of the POI, which was just as good as the other part. I was on the north side. And so like south side was like Avery and Muzz and like, I don't even know who else, like Macwood and someone else.
Yeah.
It was very contested. Yeah, it was a lot of good teams on south side, but not that many good teams on north side, but it was still a great spot. And so, yeah, like holding it down just kind of also comes down to how good you are at the spot. And for that, it kind of matters about who you're playing with. That's at least how I look at it. So I've played with, I think it was like last season, it was last season. I tried with a guy named Zen, which maybe you guys know who he is. He's like some creative, like insane player. I was like, dude, let's see how good this guy goes in game. Like, and I played with him. If you go against him and you're in a 1v1, he's insane. It's so awesome to watch the guy. He's just chopping the guy out, 180, chop him out again. Like, it's just like torturing these scrim players. Like, they don't even know what they're doing. So, but no disrespect, he's not a lot of competitive experience, right? So when I went to Restored with him, it's not a very 50-50 spot, and the mats are kind of uneven. So when you're playing with a player that's not as smart game sense wise, you kind of have to have them more mats. So like I offered him, I was like, yo, let's go back to Classy. You can get max wood there, and you can literally be like you're in the zone wars and just go crazy. And so, of course, it didn't work out. Now I'm playing with Jack, and Jack is more of a player who has more game sense, understands like how to play slow, fast, pacing of the game early. And so he gets it all, right? So it's very good for me and Jack because we play the same way. Like he gets mats with me, we farm up, we play strategic, we spray, whatever. So that matters, right? And same with like 50-50, like Peterbot. I know Kwani's like a very big 50-50, or like if you go to a spot like that, if you go to a 50-50 spot and it gets really like buffed or becomes really good, expect a player like that to come contest you because that's like their strength. Like my strength is not 50-50. My brain won't handle it. Like I'm just like swerve, land here, get a gun and try to kill him after. Like, so. Yeah.
Well, where do you kind of stand on like going a good POI? Like you kind of mentioned there, obviously if you got a really good POI that's 50-50, but you're gonna have to verse someone bigger. What's your kind of thought process when it comes into like locking down a POI versus going like kind of like a split loot shambles route? I'm trying to think of like your drop spot history. Yeah. You seem to try to go like POIs, but maybe not like the best POI, but I don't really see you do too many like big wide shamble kind of splits. It just doesn't fit your play style, not worth it. Like
Yeah, I think for me, split drops isn't worth it. I think alphaing a POI or trying to get a part of it if it's big enough is definitely my strength. because it allows for like third parties and opens, and you can still get also get uncontested. I don't know my entire history of where I've landed, but I know one time Rave Cave, of course, is a very good POI. I've landed Bastion, which was extremely a great POI. I had a vault as well.
Yeah,
we had mythics there.
Yeah.
I used to land it was like the Authority, I think, back in like the solo season where it was like DreamHack, whatever. And that had like the mythic item. So I'm very comfortable landing on like mythic spots. And I think that's actually a strength. So like in solo ranked or whatever, I'm landing Brutal Beachhead to just make it my mythic backup spot, because a lot of those spots are uncontested like 90% of the time in tournaments. Like go watch every tournament, like opens uncontested, like Rave Cave uncontested, the entire thing. It was like 80 chest spawns, 5,000 mats, like you're good. So yeah, no, it's definitely good to learn those, but yeah, I think I just pick based off of the way the POI looks to like the way the POI plays out, right? So is it a 50-50? Can you like make some strategy off of it? Like if we think about Restored Reels and Brutal Bastion, they're pretty similar. You kind of drop in for the building. If you get the building, you win the fight like pretty quick. If you don't get the building, you can swerve and still make a play off of it. Like you can still win after. It just takes a little bit more strategy and thinking, and that's kind of where the skill gap comes. So you could like get out dropped, no big deal, swerve away and still kill the team because they're playing over aggressive because you know how to counter that, right? So I try to land at spots like that aren't 50-50. Like I can't remember the last time I landed like on a shark head where I just 50-50 to chest. It's just not me. Can't remember the last time I landed at like Stark where I'm just like the best POI, most loot. Like Rave K was the closest probably to that, but even still.
It's why I like solos too. Because you talked about how like you landed these crazy POIs, but like when you land like Authority, right? You would have been one of what, like 6 people, 5 people? Like I'm trying to think like so many people have dropped Authority, right? In solos. Yeah, and you just have to get used to that. You kind of like carve out your little spot and you kind of figure out how the other teams play, but you got to be ready. Like they can make a move on you. I feel like duos, like split dropping duos, like I'm thinking like fencing fields and POIs that have fit more than 1 or 2 duos. It still just feels so formulaic in how it plays out. Like you take your part, I take my part. Maybe I take some shots, but not really. Solos is where like you could see as the tournament went on, like teams started to get more aggressive. They would steal a bit more loot. They would start to get like, make more moves. And I don't know. I found that so much more fun to watch with drop fights.
Yeah, you definitely get more of that in like solos than you would in duos. Just because again, it's just like there's so many more players that like one person is just gonna be shambles and have to do something different to make the tournament like worthwhile, In general though, I feel like when you're looking at like spots, a question I have for you, Cease, on this, and I want to start asking more pros this: how much do you think about like globals or like the international scene when thinking about like a spot or an area? Because I remember I like look at some teams and I think to myself like it doesn't feel like some teams actually think about it at all. They're just like, we're just gonna land at the best spot here because it makes sense for us in NA. What happens at globals happens at globals. Who knows what the map will even be by the time we get there, right? But as like a player, do you ever think about like the long-term impact of like this team's gonna be conning there from EU, or this team's there, or this spot might not be here? Like, what do you ever think about that at all?
Yeah. I forget, was it chapter 4 Brutal Bastion season? I think it was, right? Last chapter. I was working with Chocolatin, who's a very known coach. He's great. And I was going brutal and I was like, I learned it all. Like I did everything. I learned the entire spot. I mastered it. I was like the player at Brutal Bastion. For the most part, globally, Saudi Arabia, I was like uncontested. Like Red Bull solos, like I was like South Brutal Bastion was like mine. And so I was working with him. Like he had a bunch of obviously he had like all my strats. He knew how I wanted to play it. And then he asked me, and like, this is when I made the mistake. It was like, hey, I'm working with, forget his name. I was like Nebs or something like that. I'm working with Nebs. Can he land like South Bastion? And I was like, you know what, dude? Sure. Like at the time I was like, I don't think he'll qual. I think I'll qual instead. I don't think we both made it to globals. Obviously I didn't make it to globals. I don't think he did, but we ended up both making it to Red Bull solos and I think Saudi. So I was like, dude, like it's like one of those where like you got that turning gut. You're like, oh, dude, please, like, come on, dude, like don't do this to me. And so I don't think he did, but yeah, no, I definitely don't. I don't think about it too much. Like, I think that new spots come all the time, and so like you can easily switch your spot. Like I've talked a lot to Trulex that last season about Restored because he lands there, and I mean we were both like in a call. We were like just strat against each other. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, oh, I think that's good. So like we were like trying to make each other better at the spot, which is definitely a little uncommon. I think Trulex is actually a really like genuine player, so I don't think he would do anything weird in the future. But
that's cool.
yeah, I mean, even still, like, let's say we both make it. Like, I'm not going to be the person to contest him. I'll try to claim it if he wants to come. Like, okay, cool, I'll find a different spot. Like, I respect that. So,
okay,
yeah.
The one that I find quite interesting right now as well is, and I've been talking a lot about the most conversation I've ever had around drop spots and why you go where and all of it is because of the land spots. I find the land spots so intriguing because you've got Alex and Worthy. They've come from OC to NA. They have a land spot. So they have way less to lose than almost any other team. So when they said they were going to contest Reet and Ritual at Railway, I'm like, why? Why would you contest another team who has a land spot? You have the ultimate ace up your sleeve. Pick any POI that doesn't have a land team qualified at it. And for the first time in like the history of ever, we might actually see a small region team get their drop uncon. But then what does that play out coming into LAN? Going into LAN, they know Railway and they want Railway and they're going to have to verse Reet there anyway. So do they give it up now to get more experience? You know what I mean? It's that question of like, I've been saying that I feel like they, as a less respected team, they're from a small region, they just will be, should maybe try to practice a more low-key drop that they can actually potentially hold coming into the LAN they know they're going to, rather than trying to alpha a big PY and stuff. Like does that ever play into your mind as well, Cease, when you're looking at spots? Is like, how is it going to go into LAN with bigger, better teams? If there's already a big name there, is it just pointless to even go there?
Yeah, I think if I was it Worthy and Alex, I would 100% go pick a spot that's really good, but not Conda Globals, and just pray that's my spot. Also, like the greatest thing for them is, all right, let's say like, okay, I'm going to use Trulix's like new split, like the Forecast Tower below Lavish, whatever, like that area. But you go there, pretty solid spot, maybe top 15 spot, top 10, maybe you could still win with any spot on the map, mind you. Reverse 2K, hey. But and then let's say you get conned by Trulix. He quals like, oh dang, you know, I just learned the spot. Okay, I'm going back to Reckless. And then you kind of have that excuse or like ego of like, dude, look, I'm sorry. Like I literally don't know anything else. I have to come here. Like it's at this point where like it's just the way it is. Sometimes Fortnite plays out like that. You can't really like overplan, overthink, because it'll, you know, someone could always come contest you or qualify and contest you. So no, I think they should
be able to adapt.
Adaptation of the drop spots. Yes, let's go.
Wow.
Oh my god. Who would have thought?
Adapting. Wow. That's great.
Good question though, Yared. I like that. That was a good one.
Thank you very much, Yared.
Appreciate
you.
Yeah.
All right, let's try to get that next call in as quick as we can, Quartz. It's
I kind of want to say that off spawn though. I'm sorry, I kind of want to say that off spawn. I kind of wanted to see the Yared CSL spawn, bro. That was mad smack, dude. He was just called you old, like washed, bro. Like I don't know.
That guy's on something coming in like that. Come on now.
All right, we got the next call already. What is your name and where are you calling from, my friend?
Hi, my name's Matthew from last week. I'm from the United Kingdom. Yo.
Let's go. I was about to say, it's been a while for European. Normally we have like all the Europeans showing up and like no North Americans. I was like, okay.
Everyone's depressed after Cash Cup. Nobody wants to.
Probably, honestly, yeah.
What's your take, Matthew?
So my take is that at LAN, smaller regions like Asia, for example, will have the most potential ever to get a top 10, and that's because in next season, I'm predicting an even weirder and wackier season than last. And for example, the Asia pros and the Brazilian pros, they always come up with these weird and wacky strats. Like Zagu, he invented the cone in endgame strat this season. I've seen that come into EU, and I remember seeing a video of him doing that originally. So I feel like that. I feel like what they're hiding, they could be hiding things that none of us can see. That none of us can see coming.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting one. Okay. I like it. Because we have a lot of Zagu. I mean, Zagu is just Zagu. Homie's just insane. That guy just sits in create. He just finds out all the tech. It's insane. I think people started to look to Zagu for the tech. But so you're kind of mentioning that you think because the smaller regions obviously having less eyes on them kind of lets them bring in more secret strategies, or you just think for some reason the small regions are more prone to bring in secret kind of strats, Matt?
I feel like there's so much less eyes on them. It's like there's like almost no eyes on them in the grand scheme of things.
True.
Do you guys agree with this?
Yeah, I think it's fair. There's definitely not a lot of eyes on Asia, but I think it still goes back to the core. Like I don't know if you're predicting like an Asia team because of their unseen strategies to like win the tournament, but it goes back to like they're not very competitive. Like they don't have a Peter bot like over there. I'm sure they have a version of that. They don't have a very competitive lobby. It's a little bit. It's like the other smaller regions. And so like they can come up with these like strategies, but it's not really gonna make them win the tournament or maybe even top 10 the tournament. I don't think that's like, I feel like we've only ever seen them I feel like the only time I've seen anybody from any other region, especially the Asia region, was Invitational day 1. Or was it day 1? I think it was a day 1, right? And it was like, I think it was Zago. It was like, he was like 3rd place. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, maybe now it's time. But like, and then he dropped down. He was like 15th or something.
Shalom or something? Shalom? I'm trying to think that we had another one. I feel really bad that I forget them. I do feel bad because like top 5s and top 10s, I should be remembering. Yeah.
Shalom did Shalom do decent in globals? I think he did.
I think he did. He did well recently. Yeah, Shalom got top 5. So we've had a couple small regions do well, and I will answer this one on the sense that I don't know if it's like secret strategies like as crazy as like, you know, putting the bodies on the plants and farming them and stuff like that. But I do think the smaller region teams that aren't known for running through their region like King and stuff end up doing better at LAN because they've learned how to play more of a LAN play style. If your win in FNCS came on the back of like King just running through the whole lobby, winning 10 out of 12 games by alphaing height, you're not going to be able to pull that off against EU and NA's best players. We know that. But you might be able to do it in a small region where if you got to LAN by maybe being a bit more passive, playing a little bit smarter, and really just understanding the core mechanics of the game a bit better, like your surge aim is good, your rotates are good through mid and low, I think that's a lot more replicable. And that's why you've seen a lot of the most hyped up teams in the small region do bad on LAN. And you've seen these kind of like more underrated random teams on the LAN like kind of do better. That's at least what I've seen anyway, or what I've kind of judged it up to. If you just get there because you're bullying the smaller region lobbies that are easier, it's not going to work on LAN. At least that's what I've seen.
Yeah, I think you got to remember that. Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I unfortunately disagree with you, Matthew. My good friend Matthew. I unfortunately don't. I ain't buying it. I think the problem now for a lot of these smaller region teams is globals is no longer 6 games final. If it was still 6 game final, I'd hear it out because you have a gimmicky strat. It can carry you in a 6 game format. 12 games, you know, the way the meta of a finals lobby evolves over 12 games, unfortunately, the smaller regions often just can't keep up because of just the lack of practice, right? Like, I remember talking to Resub about this, and he had talked to a Middle Eastern team, and they had said, I can't remember if it was after Invitational or Globals, but they basically got rocked. And they were just like, we're just screwed because we don't know what to do when our surge strat doesn't work. We don't have a chance to practice when our surge strat doesn't work. In our Middle East finals lobby, we're farming kids for surge non-stop. Like, you know, they don't know what to do. But it's like, we can't get our shots off against like a top EU and NA team as easily. They're not giving us the damage. After that, we just don't have a clue, right? So it's like, if it was 6 games, I can hear it. 12 game finals, a gimmicky sort of unseen strategy gets found out after, unless you save it maybe and you have a crazy comeback with it, but a lot of kids just ain't gonna do that. I think in most cases, like an unseen strat like that, you will get found out come game 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's just like from there, not happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw
most unseen. I was gonna say most unseen strats is you only have about one of them, and then once that's done, you're gone.
Cammy and Setis was probably the only unseen strat that was good enough to be mostly uncounterable and like carried through a longer tournament, right? There's just the med stacking on the balloon. That's the only unseen strat that was like game winning enough to win a tournament where I truly think that even a team maybe not as good as Cammy and Seti utilizing it could have actually done as well with it. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of those strats that are still really unknown. You still need to be a phenomenally good player in LAN to actually pull it off.
Yeah, I think that was a turning point for like unseen strategies as being like a thing to do. Like I think that was after that it was like the teeny landing at different spots. Like dude, there's like now everyone's got like something cooked up. Like someone's trying something because I mean at the end of the day they like won that tournament like I mean I wouldn't say with ease but like they were right up there neck and neck with definitely the best team. So
yeah, it's like and it's tough even then because it's like even when you look at that. Yes, that strat I think would have benefited any team that did it massively, but it's like it was still Cammy and City. They're still one of the best end games. Strats like that are great because it's like, it can help you bypass mid game. But like some of those teams, even if you gave them every single end game, they're still not going to be able to deliver anything close to what Cammy and City do because Cammy and City are one of the best end game teams in the world. So it's tough, honestly. It's a shit. It's why like I wish we had more international competition for some of those smaller region teams to get better practice consistently. Right? It's like. You just can never replicate it against like in your own region unless you do like the classic in scrims where it's like midway through endgame you just drop half your mats because you're like and like, you have to do that in actual like FNCSs and it's like you're not really ever gonna do that. So yeah, it's tough for the smaller regions, man. I feel for them sometimes.
Yeah, I completely agree that winning would be a huge stretch. But I feel like in a weird and wacky meta, I feel like it's known that worse teams can do better, and maybe not top 10ing or even top 20ing. It can happen, but maybe putting themselves on the map in the same way that someone like Alex and Worthy have. They're not like household names yet, but they put themselves on the map. We know about them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you'll see them. They're coming to NA now, things like that, putting themselves on the map so people really know them.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a Stark season, right? I mean, we could have some Unibeam fucking Boombo cross, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's see. We'll see what we get. Honestly, like at this point, if any season's gonna have that in it, I am excited for a Stark LAN and quite nervous as well. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I think also with these international teams, it's only top 1 to qual, right? So like Asia's top 1, maybe top 2. I don't know the exact
two in this last one. Yeah, I think a lot of them get 2 in this last major, but yeah, it's 1 before this. So yeah, they're only sending I think 3 to 4 teams. So
it feels like you probably, to get that top 1-2 spot, I mean, at least in NA, you have to be a Peterbot. You have to be aggressive, keying, fighting. You have to be like you have to be very smart. But it feels like on those regions, you could be like a Peterbot, aggressive, 2 aggressive players, right? Then you could win the tournament easy, right? Like that would make sense. I'm pretty sure that is actually what happens on like other smaller regions. Like Alex and Worthy aren't like they're not a Peterbot, but they're definitely very good at fighting, and they can like Alex is insane. Of course, they're both crazy. So like you put those 2 together, but then you put like 2 Peterbots on a global stage, right? And then who's going to be calling, right? Like I don't know Alex and Worthy how smart they are, but like I would imagine it's kind of that scenario of like they're not like neither one of them is like a queasy IGL. So like that's like kind of what you have. And then if you also have that paired with like a meta that isn't random, like I think honestly if we saw this meta for globals, you would have a lot more of the smaller like Asia teams, because it's like imagine Asia is coming out, 2 Peterbots are playing on the same team. They have some crazy strategies where they're crouching around doing something crazy, and then they can also just do random things. Like this meta would be the meta for globals, but I think by the time globals will come around, it'll be more like controlled. It'll be pads or something else, right? So it'll come down to brains instead of fighting.
It's why I've always argued that OC did so bad at World Cup, is because we didn't send our best World Cup players, and our best World Cup players at the start of World Cup qualifiers just turned into brain dead W keys. Like you had to drop. It was ridiculous. Like to qualify for World Cup from OCE, because only 1 spot, and there wasn't even 1 spot every single week. You were just dropping 20 bombs. Like you had to win with like 6 or 5, like 5 to 6, 10 to 15, 20 bomb games, and then you go to World Cup. Of course, that's not going to work. That's all you practice for the last 2 months before World Cup. You have no experience in an actual lobby where you can't just drop a 20 bomb. So I think that's going to hurt this LAN as well with the no last chance major, because there was just more small region teams that went, and it gave a chance to some of those small region teams who maybe didn't get first to then make it through last chance major and then do well, where now we just don't have that. They are only sending, they're like 3 or 4 teams, and they're, like you said, they're the Peterbot Poyos, they're the W keys. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thank you very much for that one, Matthew. That's a
Thank you for having me on again. Thanks, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.
All right. No, it's an interesting one. I mean, I'm always, a fan of seeing like the smaller regions like sort of pop off, right, and have their moment. I definitely like feel like we will still have like a day one, you'll see like maybe a BR team in there, an Asian team in there, and like people will be like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then it might just level itself out, as things go on. But yeah, I'm
excited.
It'd be nice. Do you want to get the next caller in, guys? You guys ready?
Yep, I'm down. I'm down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Plasma. I'm calling from the UK.
Hey, back-to-back UK. What is your take, Plasma?
Go.
So my take is having set lobby finals this season is gonna be much better to see who the better players are, and then for grand finals it's gonna be of a much higher caliber lobby because the better players would have done better in the set lobbies.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna start this one off. I agree with the first thing you said.
Yep.
As in, quals now will be a better temperature check of who's actually gonna be good this season come grand finals time. I don't know how much it really affects the grand lobby, just because like the rest of the quals is still like the same. It's like you get your series points from before, you get your series points from round 3. Like you never really have to get to round 4, and you can still qual to grands. Like you'll get to semis, so it's like the same semis format. So it's like, it's kind of just going to be the same in terms
top
of
25.
Yeah, it's like,
which is so stupid. Like the fact that you can make it to the set lobbies without getting to set lobbies and grands. But yeah, first part you're staying 100% accurate. We're not going to have, and again, no offense, I love my boy Pink. We had him on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Pink again, won both the weeks of qualifiers, went into semis, went into grands, didn't do anywhere near first. You know what I mean? So clearly the qualifiers weren't the best indicator of skill. We were saying this the whole time. We had our prediction podcast. It was a nightmare trying to predict because we had nothing to go off. So I think better for predicting, but as far as getting better players to the grands, I think it'll be the same. That's my take.
Yeah.
I do think, like, I kind of do think the last season's qualifiers, how it's not a set lobby, and I'm like, of course, I love set lobbies. I think that is the ultimate display of skill. But at the same time, the best set lobby is a grand finals or like something where it's like a custom set lobby and not something you can qualify to. I actually kind of like the format we had last season where it was like top 250 or whatever it was. Then Pink would win that one, right? Like that was like that actually felt just different and also, I mean, equally competitive. Like the 50-player lobby we're about to play in this weekend is going to be still going to have like a lot of random people, maybe probably cheaters like all over. And it's like if you don't make it to that top 50, you're going to get knocked out. Like you could be 60th and like I don't know, it could just mess with your series points. I kind of do like the overall like 6 games. Like, oh, okay, I have a cheater in this game. Okay, I'm just going to die off swall and go to the next game. It's like you can't do that in a custom lobby.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, going into the
very
last
good
game,
point.
you know, you need 5 points. You can't back out.
I think maybe it's the OG in me just kind of thinking like set lobby equals far better lobby. But you're right. Like you look at some of these lobbies and it's like, who are some of these people? And that's a cheater and they've made it through and now they're going to contest clicks. And like it does. You're right. Actually, I feel like maybe I need to let go of some of my prejudice on the fact that a set lobby is just more competitive and therefore better. Because we're getting to the point where sometimes it's not. So I don't know.
Yeah, look at the
my name. I'm sorry, Pink. Don't talk shit. I'm sorry.
Like a cash cup.
I think with that, Ozzy, it's not that it's better in terms of like competitiveness, but it's better viewing experience. Like it's easier to follow. Like, because it's different. Because from your player perspective, I get as a player why it probably doesn't feel that different. In some ways, it probably does, just for people who are like more conned, and it's like you can actually prep stuff right going into that because you know who's landing where, and you know it's not like you know there's some teams who's like you go in one game you're con, you go and you're not. I think from like it's weird because this season in general, and we were saying this last season as well, and it just feels like this is chapter. We're getting to the point again in comp Fortnite where it's like outside of these FNCS set lobbies, there is just nothing really of interest set lobby wise, right? Where it's like I remember there was a time when you kind of didn't even really need to watch cash cups like that. You might look at the results if there was something crazy like Mac would won 5 games or some crazy stuff, like you maybe would check it out, or like now it's like we just saw from the Duo Cash Cup in EU, it's like, again, people aren't too locked into that because it doesn't feel as like, you know, the stakes aren't as there and the lobby doesn't look as good. I think when it comes to the like actual implications then on grand finals, yeah, it's a weird one. You mentioned, Ozzy, like it's annoying that like teams can, you know, almost qual to grands and like you never see them until semis, right? If you're watching, imagine like someone who just only watches the broadcast, right? And it's like, they're like, hold on a minute, where's this team come? I didn't see them once. You know,
who is this? Yeah.
And I remember, and as a caster, it's always funny because our thing's always like, yeah, they just didn't do as good in qualifiers, but they're here now. It's like you can't say much about them either because it's like you never got to see them.
You default back to the usual, like, oh, love, you know, check out this underdog team and let's figure out what they're doing. Is this going to be their day? And you have to try and sell this story of like, yo, we're going to watch someone pop off. But it's like, yo, who the fuck is this random? I've never seen them in my life. And I have nothing to add about them.
I don't know what the maths are. And I'm sure there'll be someone like Kinch or Syrian who will tell us. But it's like, I'm pretty sure as well, like if you don't qual for that round 4, I don't think it will actually impact your FNCS too much. I feel like as long as you make like back-to-back round 3s and it's like a decent, probably like 60th-ish, like you're probably just good anyway. So it's like,
I mean, it's gonna be. Isn't it not gonna be the same exact series points as last time? Like you need to get
basically
like, two top 65s or 2 top 75s, and you'll make it to like round 1 or whatever in heats.
Yeah.
So like you don't actually have to qualify, and you can make it.
While we're on the topic of kind of like the set lobbies versus not, Cease, if you've played every format under the sun, do you have a preference? Like, do you like the fact there's duo cash cup set lobbies now? Would you rather they went back to 1-round duo cash cups? Like what has been your favorite format to play around this question of set lobbies? Like, do you prefer it? Do you hate it?
I would be down to. I think change is like what makes the game really fun. Like, so I would be down to go back to like open style cash cups. Or like maybe I wish like DreamHack was still had a hand and like could host like the open style cash cup where it was just you'd play 3 hours, open, see how you did, and then boom. It's just different, and it's like it's a little bit more fun. And also, I think that when it comes down to these stacked lobbies, they're really not that competitive. They're basically scrims. They're like vital scrims you're playing. So it's like that.
Yeah.
Also paired with like even in vital scrims, you have teams that are in grands that are going to be in grands. Like for example, we land near Rise. It's like we can't do what we might want to do to him in grands until grands, and like just these set lobbies just kind of spoils what you want to do in grands. Kind of no. It kind of spoils what you want to do in grands, and so you kind of can't. I don't know. I wish I would be down but for the storyline, I don't know. It's tough. It's like storyline. I do think that is really cool.
It goes both ways, though, Cease, as a player, though.
Yeah.
Because we saw it in the case of... I hate when we keep bringing up Pink Case. He's not going to like us. He's not going to come back on the show for much longer, right?
He's in my game. He was like, yo, you said my name. What do we say?
He's not going to like it. But it's like, in the case of like Pink, right? Like, they never really got enough chances to practice Surge in set lobbies. So then come Grand Finals, it's like, their Surge is just fucked. It's like...
Yeah.
So as a player, yes, there might be times when it's like, you have to like hold back because you have these set lobbies, but as a player there might also be situations where you actually wish there was more set lobbies so you could just try more things so that come grand finals you're a bit more ready, so
but the game is not grand finals is not like the cash cups. It's not like
it's very different. It's very different.
It's very different.
No, I know that.
The best way to
explain
explain
similar
it,
level.
Yeah, it's a lot tighter. It's a lot tighter.
I'm not saying a similar level. I'm just saying that it's like in those like in cash cups, like that's what not specifically just cash cups, scrims, cash cups, just any set lobby format. Like you get a chance to test like ideas for Surge. Like you might see, okay, like there's this timing that we can play with, or like this actually often like a team usually bases up here, so we probably shouldn't go here. Like this you just get more experience. It's like exposure therapy, It's like you just your brain.
Yeah, I think it's more time to test your theories.
Yeah,
test your theories.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's like scrims. I mean, you do that in scrims all the time. You play as many as you want.
I do think from a viewer perspective, I don't know a player perspective, but I do think the amount of set lobbies we have now has watered down set lobbies. I remember, again, we're going back to the OGs of this podcast itself, HotlineFN. I remember Shy on Ball used to argue this all the time, that scrims should not be broadcasted at all from a viewer perspective to maintain the hype of set lobbies. Because there was a while there where, again, I was mostly me, I think they were talking about. So I was broadcasting every Elite scrims. It was mad fun. Everyone was streaming. It was great. And just set lobbies felt exciting, even with nothing on the line, because they were a set lobby. Because for so long in Fortnite, they weren't heard of. Even major qualifying tournaments like World Cup wasn't decided by set lobbies. So it was just like when we finally got them, it was crazy. But now we've gone the opposite direction where everything finishes in set lobbies, where it's just like, man, you show up to a set lobby now and it just doesn't bring any hype by itself without any other massive stakes to back it up. So I don't know. From a player perspective, Cease, do you remember set lobbies felt more exciting and now they do just feel like nothing? Or from a player, you never really cared about set lobbies?
I was about to say, yeah. I think actually the players, every player is starting to shift more because like I've of course the thing with being an older player or like coming from the days is like you're kind of still latching on to like what you had like of like that feeling of like custom lobbies, like take it serious, like nothing like elite scrims are not the scrims now. Like elite scrims back then I'd be like, all right, let's go lock in, warm up for like let's go. These are the best games of the week. Let's go. But now it's just like, all right, I'm playing vital scrims today. Good luck. Like let's just play 3 games and then we're done. Like it's like, okay, cool. So it's like I'm still latching on to like the feeling of like this cash up is intense, but it's like I've started to just be like, even like everything, every round I'm like, dude, this is like a vital scrim. Like, what am I doing? I'm just like, let me just queue up, like take it less serious. And then you just kind of do better that way. And so I think as everyone kind of starts to get that same shape, like cash cups will probably just be like a key fest. Like the finals just be like, who can drop a higher kill win in the finals? Like
Chapantini, 28 kills today. Chapantini's got a 28 kill win. Yeah, this morning in the EU Tour Cash Cup finals. So again, obviously Nitro, and we're talking about the goofy meta, but still to not care enough to just be like, screw it. If we die in this next fight, jumping on this duo's head, who cares? It's just a cash cup. Like it should never feel like who cares? It's just a cash cup. It's like, this is the second most important tournament of the season, basically behind again, FNCS. Like,
Yeah. I think prize pool also goes to that. Like if there's a bit more prizing, or if it was top heavy, like I'm not going to play 3 hours yesterday and then 3 hours today to not even get top 25 and get, make no money. The prize pool split is a little rough. But also, I mean, on top of that, like I don't want to say this is gonna shape it to make it that much better. But if there was some competitive support, like, hey, look, the cash cup's on today, good luck. Like these are the winners of the cash cup. I think that happens, but like, these are the results, top 5 of the cash cup. It's like they definitely need to just, I think in general, just up the prize pool and make it like more top heavy, and that would make people play, I feel like, a lot more competitively. But Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Like custom lobbies don't have that same feeling until you go to a grand finals and you're like, oh, this is what I want to feel. This is the game.
I think in general, like a lot of what we have in the scene right now feels watered down because we've had it so much the same. It's like naturally it's going to get watered down. It's why lands now, you know, are even more exciting because it's like now that we've had a little taste of them, we want even more, right? Like, you know, as a player, it's like I loved after globals when we saw a bunch of players just like, nah, I need to win one of these, or nah, I'm gonna be back here next year. It's like because you're hungry, because all of you guys are so competitive that it's like you're just hungry for that top level competition. And there was a time where like set lobbies could just give you that alone, right? Because we just didn't have that many. But now it's like, you know, watered down. I think it's interesting what you said, Ozzy. I think you're right with like from a viewing perspective. I've always found that weird as well, where it's like in a lot of other games, you know, esports, sports, you don't see practice as much from the top level teams. Whereas like,
you don't.
You sit. Most people sit here and watch Clicks play scrims every day, and it's like, it's just it's not a thing in other games really, and it's like it definitely does take away from the excitement. Even if people don't feel it, like it definitely must take away from the excitement.
Oh, for sure.
You are actually watching real tournaments. So
yeah,
I think that like the elite scrims was that feeling. Like you would show up, it was super private, super gate kept. But I think the breaking point for that was the age gap, like the age limit in Fortnite. Like 13 years old, it's already a less mature game. Like you couldn't make a set, you couldn't host elite scrims right now. It's impossible. It would just run, it would be done in a day. So it's like that, and just it just makes it so you can't tell everybody, hey, don't stream this. Nobody stream this event. This is just scrims for the pros. This just won't happen. Like that's not gonna happen.
It was so much, even like, because obviously I wasn't doing NA as much at that time. I was doing like the OCE stuff, and even then it was like, we're not going to stream, we're going to do this. So I was telling chat the other day, see, you probably remember this, like, just sorry, this might be a bit of a tangent. We're talking about like set lobbies and stuff. Like Elite used to be so organized to the point where the original Evaluation Cup was getting an Epic employee to queue into Elite scrims, and the entire lobby agreed not to kill them and let them play it out for like info on the game and the like. Can you imagine trying to organize that with the player base today? You'd have Peterbot would target him, kill him, take the L on him, and then DM on Twitter telling him they're a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and that's our best player on the region. Like, it's just, it doesn't work like it used to. So trying to organize these like set lobbies and trying to have this, you know, kind of scene that would fit around it and take it seriously and take it professionally it's just gone. I just don't think we're gonna get that back. It's just
I think sadly like a lot of the scene at the top level is very jaded. Like a lot of kids. I say kids, like I'm not also a kid in the eyes of most adults, but
everyone thinks you're 40. It's all good.
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm 40, so it's fine. Yeah. A lot of these guys just have been around for so long. Like back then, and I know she can definitely speak to this. Like back then, there was also like this big like copium and hope that like Fortnite comp could be something. Like you had almost an image of like what it could be, and so like you were more willing to like play ball with those types of things because you're like, well, this is like the best path to the future where like it is this perfect competitive scene that I've imagined. And it's like now like a lot of people are just so jaded. They're like, yeah, it's just never going to be what I want it to be. I'm just going to keep farming my money where I can.
Cease literally said that earlier. You know? Like Cease was like that before. He's like, I don't want to get sad talking about how good it could be.
Dude, I don't know if you guys remember. Actually, I feel like you guys have heard this in conversation, but I don't know when you guys have heard this. But back in the day, 2018, only scrims we had were Epic replay test scrims, and you'd be in a server invited by Epic. I think you maybe have to sign an NDA to get in that. I hope not.
It'd be out now. It'd be over now. You'd be fine. Yeah, you'd be fine now.
No, but yeah, it was like they were testing the replay system in the game, and so like that was the like taste of customs. I remember back in the day before that, somehow somebody got access to like some Brazil content creator account and got custom codes, and it was like Zay like had access to his account, and he would make him host scrims every day, and it was like you would like keep this on the low, do not leak this. And it like lasted like 2 months. We had scrims. Like we're the only region in the entire world that had scrims because of this one guy's account. And then it got removed.
I think it was you guys and the French, wasn't it? I think the French got a 2-11. You might be out. Yeah.
From the EU side, how it worked was that we had like, I think community managers, like there's community managers at Epic who had access to customs. And so like there was some guy, like, so the French had it notoriously, like the French had access to it, I think through their community manager. And so it's like, but the French were just like, if you know anything about Europe dynamics, the French being the French kept it all to themselves. Like it was impossible to like get invited to those, right? Unless you were like just best friends with like Skype or something back then. But then also there was a period in time where like Mota got them, I think through like a Turkish community manager. I remember there was like secret ones there. Like, so it was always very secret. Like, yeah, like somebody would just finesse it from some random place, and then it's like you just had to keep it so tight-lipped. Like, you just couldn't.
That's crazy.
If you got caught leaking or telling anybody, you were
over.
out.
You had to use an alt account. You had to use an alt account and not have anybody added. Yeah, because then you couldn't be seen in this lobby.
Yeah.
So it would say custom lobby, and
that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. So there you go. We've just gone through the whole history of set lobbies, and just to now where it's just we have people not even caring about the duo cash cup that has thousands of dollars, and it's an actual like just queue up in the compete tab set lobby. You know, it's just no one cares.
Yeah, that's crazy. On top of that, dude, NA and I feel like the whole French region was like, or France, I guess, was actually the top of that time. Like, I can't remember a time where NA was like NA was better than EU for a while because of the customs. France and all those people, like they were better than the rest of Europe because of the customs. So it's like if you can gatekeep scrims, like if Zay was able to come back and we were to go back to Elite time, I think NA would rise above EU if they couldn't, because that was a long time too. Even when Elite was hosting, like back when you were watching the scrims, EU was kind of a mess. EU was for like the first 3 years was like notoriously known of like, dude, they just couldn't host anything. Everyone was just too stupid. They were like, so like if we have gate kept scrims, I think that we would get even better than where we are now. Like, it would be an entirely different game if we could host gate kept scrims.
To go to the next level of that, like OCE for a while there, I remember Baller's first ever VOD review was on OCE, because since the region had the least amount of players, you could do the snipe scrims, where this is going so far back. You guys know how snipe scrims work. Literally, we'd all get in Discords and we'd count down. All right, we're going to queue in 5, 4, and you'd then all queue at the same time. And you'd try to get in the same lobby, and you'd take the code in the top left, and you'd figure out how many people are in. If there wasn't enough, you'd re-queue. Basically, OC was the best at that because the queues were so long in between. You could get like 60 to 70 pros in a lobby, which was unheard of anywhere else in the world. So like OCE actually was the best region at one point because of that. It's just practice. If you get practice and no one else has practice, you're going to be the best. It's just that simple.
Yeah. 100%. I forgot even the name of one of the early like solo cups. Remember they used to do those solo cup seats where it was like kind of like W key based, but it was just like, I remember back then, I think like Savage won one of the early ones in EU. Somebody in chat will remember. It was like,
are we talking like the pin ones, the ones we got like the architect ones and stuff like those ones? Are before that? Way before that. Okay.
Way before that. It was like, oh man.
You talking about like what would call you to Winter Royale?
Scallywag? Was it the Scallywag? No, that's the earliest one I know of. Is it before that? Really? Okay.
Way before Scallywag, and way
Savage would have been like 11.
Like that. Yeah, it was like, I forgot where it was, like what the name of it was. But basically those, I remember the way you'd get good practice was like by the end of those, it was like the tournament would be on for like the weekend, right? But it was like,
Mitra liked it really well on one of these. I remember these. Yeah, I don't know the name. Yeah.
And I think by the back end, was it called Solo Showdown? It might have been called Solo Showdowns. But
maybe,
by the back end of it, it was like the tournament was kind of done, but it was still available. So then we would queue snipe in those because like nobody was queuing anymore. So it was like it was even like it was more stacked queue snipe lobbies just because it was like nobody else was queuing in them. It was really fun. Really
my gosh! And here we are.
Wait. Quartz just sent it. I think a screenshot of them to me. I don't even know. Anyway, let's get the next call in. Thank you very much, Plasman.
Fantastic question.
We're just spamming this like whole Bruma trip down memory lane gimmick. This is what I want it
to be though, man. Like, it's so rare we like get these kind of conversations, and I'm not gonna lie, the vibes in the current season aren't it. So let's just go back to a better time, right?
I 100% agree with that, and so hopefully the next caller gives us more of a platform to do exactly that.
Or we'll just take it ourselves.
Scrim win, Cease? Do you remember?
No, I don't. It's on YouTube somewhere. I have an OG like squad scrim from like way 5 years ago on YouTube. I just like, I'm putting it out.
Let's go.
No, I don't. I wish.
It would be a nice story, I'm sure.
I remember some very legendary moments though.
Trust me, we know.
Okay.
We know. What is your name and where you calling from, new caller?
Cozy, and I'm calling from Canada.
Hey, Canada in the building. What is your take, Cozy?
My take is that like no mobility and low mobility metas are higher skill because like you need to tarp and rotate and you can't just run from fights.
Cease, go for it, bro. I think
no mobility or low mobility metas are higher skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's right on that. I think that yeah, I mean, you have to understand the game a bit more, and that's a big skill gap. And yeah, I think that even though a lot of people will be like, just what am I supposed to do on a max pull? It's like, dude, you don't ever see Cammy and Seti say like, what am I supposed to do on a max pull? Like they're already on the dead side. Like they've already played the game out every time exactly how they want to be. There's no max pull for Cammy and Seti. I don't know the last time they've ever even said that personally. I'm now thinking about it. I'm in their head. They have never said that. They've never said I've got a max pull. So I think no mobility metas are definitely really, really good.
I think the only thing that does annoy me is, I guess, like you say, if you play your mid game perfectly and get into such a good spot, but man, like everyone's had that game. I haven't because I don't make end game, but you've had that game where you get end game and you do get a bad pull and maybe someone W keep in the mid game and then you get a max pull and there's just that idiot next to you who's like, yo, I'm 100, you're 100, let's fight on backside, and both die like dickheads. And it's like, why the fuck would you do this to me? I'm sorry to sound like I hate that when the few times I've competed and I'm like, bro, if I just had one piece of mobility, I wouldn't be in this situation. But again,
but that's probably because you just
I messed up in the mid game and I did,
or you just didn't rotate early enough. Like you just got like sometimes you get a max pull and you're like, dude, I'm in a bunch of like 60 people. Like every player in the game is like, I don't want to waste mats in this, and you just have to like if you're in that situation, just waste the mats and get out of it, and then you can run for free. So it's like. No, I think low mobility, no mobility metas are really good. I think a pad meta is really good too. I would love to see crazy item. Epic might be listening. A short pad or like a mini pad. Like imagine like mini crash pads, but you're like a small one and you could do like smaller distances. Like you wouldn't go as far, but you could like miniature pad. Could be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I like pads because it's like the shared mobility, right? It's like one person places it down, like we all use it. Like you're always looking for the guy with the pad. You're like waiting for him to place it down because he has it. I think no mobility and low mobility metas like provide for like a higher skill gap, right? Like there's a bigger diff in terms of like someone who's good in those metas and someone who's not. But like Ozzy sort of highlighted, it's just you're also more at will to just being screwed by somebody else being dumb, like around you in those types of metas. It's just like more inclined for those situations. But it's definitely, those metas definitely do show, again, who's thinking more about timings, positioning, and like who actually is like more locked in like that aspect of the game. Like you get punished more for being like a white liner in those sort of metas. So it's I think that's a fair take.
They're so much more boring to watch, though. I'm sorry. So you go, Cozy?
I feel like it takes more awareness and like skill as a duo and like an IGL, giving better comms.
Yeah, definitely fair.
I also think that these metas, like I always say this about anything in the game or about a lot of meta stuff, but like for example, the new Nitro Splash. Like if they add fist back and they nerf them, whatever. Now it doesn't matter because everyone is a master of Nitro Splash. Like before when it was a combo, it's like, oh, I'm really good at hands, I'm really good at Nitro Splash. And it's like nobody was really good at, like exceptionally well at a certain thing. Now everyone's about to be the best Nitro Splash player in the game. You add back hands, it's like, okay, that's cool. Like you can do whatever. But like same thing with low mobility metas. Imagine a meta with no movement. Now everybody is like the best, like if they get shambles, no movement, right? Like next season, let's say add pads, Nitro Splash, whatever. Like, and you don't have any of that, all good. Like it just shapes the player to be better every season if you create metas like this, which is why I kind of like metas that are like all over the place in the sense of like you could have a pad meta this season, you could have crash pad this season. Like that way it doesn't like stack. Like stacking metas that's why low mobility metas are kind of iffy because it's basically stacks. Like you could always be no mobility and even in a mobility meta. So
true. Yeah, I remember like that's what Muzz was in my stream saying once we like every time, I think it was last season when it went to low mobility, once we knew the wings were shit, and he's like, bro, everyone's gonna be brain dead because last season we had mobility. Everyone had an infinite grappler, so now they're gonna be dog shits. Everyone forgot how to rotate. Like it does just feel like you can literally feel the effects of when you've had a high mobility meta and go into low. It's like, why is everyone so dumb? Where if you watch like VODs at the end of a low mobility meta, everyone's kind of figured out and doing their thing, but it's just it happens every single time where I am terrified to see what happens now if they don't nerf this Nitro and put the gloves back in. Like, it's fine because you've just even within 2 tournaments now, everyone's just adapted to this new play style, and now it's just going to be miserable as. But I just, from a viewer perspective, man, I hate low mobility metas. I'm sorry, they get so boring. Like all the super intricate stuff around like early and mid game and positioning and dead side and surge and priority. Like it's fascinating when you can actually look at it properly, but the average casual doesn't care, can't see it. And when observing a 100 player lobby, you just miss so much of that anyway. So like, I'm just always going to be high mobility meta for the fun. I mean, last season was close-ish to it. until grands.
Well, yeah,
as far as like, it wasn't but it was low. One team got mobility, and then if it was in a certain part of the map, everyone else did, and then it was like some people used wings occasionally, right?
Yeah, most of that season, last season, people were literally saying it's a no mobility meta.
Yeah,
it was low mobility because technically there was mobility, but it was low mobility. I think no, you touch on things I complain about all the time, Ozzy, man. It's just so hard to showcase these things. It's a shame, because it's like that's there's so many details that like are fascinating in this game, but naturally most people just don't give a damn. It's just too hard to show those things, so who cares?
Nice cover.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Yeah, fair take, man.
Yeah,
but I hope we don't get one. I hope we stay high mobility. Sorry, dude.
I hope not.
He's like, dude, I want to be the next one, dude. He's like, he's VOD reviewing. I can tell this dude's like a young, like IGL demon, bro. Good luck, man. I like it.
I did 2 times better because we had less mobility.
Hell yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Good luck, homie.
Are you liking Fist though? Is the question.
I mean, I just learned the meta of the fist, and then they took him out, so I got really pressed about that.
Naturally.
Thank you very much for calling in, Cozy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh man. I mean, yeah, man. Well, it's weird because I know there's a lot of players, right, who it's almost like when there's a low mobility meta, it's like season's written off. There's a couple of them that I like that now. Obviously, I think the biggest name one last season was Queasy, like where he was sort of just like slow mobility meta. I ain't locked in, man.
And then still popped off. Though.
I feel like you
in the end,
look at the leaderboard of all like no mobility metas, and it's like at the end of the day, it's boring to watch, right? But like, or maybe boring to play, or maybe it feels like bullshit. But like, dude, you still have like Vino, Tayson, Fuga, like all
it's
these
a who's who every time.
It's like it's not like no disrespect to like Chapantini, they're very good. They are actually very good, but like I'm using them as like a newer name. It's like in these mobility metas, like where the Nitro Splash is like you can kind of have them come out of the blue. Like Peterbot is maybe an example of like Grimgate mobility meta. It's like he can come out of the blue. Like if I put him in a no mobility meta, we'll see what happens.
I mean, the best example would be, right, and this one might be hard, Levin, you might be able to answer it even more than me, like Aqua, right? Aqua's like the pad meta, right? Like pads are in the game, Aqua's the best IGL in the game. Veno said it, everyone knows it, but like low mobility, I'm actually trying to think if there's been metas where Aqua has done well low mobility. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true. Aqua loved metas like that, right? Where he can just get up on height really quickly and just not have to think about anything else, It's like Aqua's locked in them type of metas. We got the next caller ready, so let's jump in. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can.
Great. My name is Fortnite Math, and I'm calling from the US. Basically, my take is that the current FNCS point system is broken. Basically, in duos, you get awarded 2 points for 25th, but you get 0 points for 26th. And has anyone really ever asked, why do we do this?
Because Epic Games.
Right. So basically, in a battle royale, the only way to win is you place first, right? But we can't just give tournament points to first only. So the point of the point system should be to fairly distribute points based on your placement. And the way you do this is you assume every player in the lobby is equally skilled. That way, to prove that you as a player are better than others, you score more points than everyone, right? So basically, the current point system is fairly broken because we're awarding 0 points to players who place 26, to duos who place 26th through 50, and we're awarding too many points to 25th through 1st. What we should be doing is awarding points sort of fairly, and what you do to make the structure favor the better players is you do that in the payout structure, not in the point system itself.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. I mean, so FN Math, you're kind of giving me like Kinch Analytics vibes here. Like you've obviously looked at this in depth. Have you been around? When did you start following competitive Fortnite? Can I ask?
Chapter 1, Season 4, Season 5.
Okay, wow, you've been around for a while. So man, when you saw the 2 kill 11th being worth 0 during $1 million tournaments, you were probably absolutely losing your mind. Because my take on this kind of thing is like, it's bad, but it's been so much worse. Where I'm kind of like, so for me, I'm like, but I do get you. Like, have you FM Math? Is there like a format then that you thought was the best format? Because like as soon as you started talking, you started describing your thought process. I'm like, bro, this guy must have loved DreamHack solos, where it was like bunch of placements real early as well. Like as long as you made it off spawn, you got some points, and it was about consistency. Is that like, yeah?
Yeah, shout out to Cozy before. I think Chapter 2 Season 1 was the most competitive for that reason.
Okay.
But yes, I do think there is an optimal point system, and the way you figure this out is so I'll give you an example. Let's say you put 3 Boogas in a lobby. You've got Booga A, B, and Booga C, right? So you then ask, what's the likelihood that Booga C dies next? And the answer is 1 out of 3, right? Because they're all equally skilled. So now you've just got Booga A and B left. So what's the likelihood that Booga B dies next? Well, it's 1 out of 2 or half, right?
Yeah.
And you do that for every team. So basically, when there's 50 duos left, they get 1 out of 50 points, or you could say maybe they get 2 points. You could multiply it by 100. So 1 out of 50, multiply it by 100, and you've got 2 points. Now the next team is 1 out of 49 likelihood to die, and you award those. You award each team accordingly. And what this corresponds to for any nerd in chat is basically the integral of 1 over x, which sounds more complicated than it is. But
dude, your name is so fitting. I love it. FN Math, bro. You came in, man. You came in with the math. I love this. This is good. And, so this is an actual math-based format. Is this like you obviously have a background in math, yeah?
A little bit, yeah. But it's really
a little bit.
Hey, let me get your number real quick. I got some math homework I need help with.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. Okay. Basically, I mean, okay. So keep going. Sorry.
In the current FNCS point structure, basically placing second in duos through 13th is like super overpowered. Basically, we're basically giving too many points to second through 13th. We're on average giving them between 1% to 2% more of the total points that we distribute to these ranks. So for any teams who are looking to play solid, that should basically be what you should be striving for.
Let me ask you a question, FN Math. So I'm playing an FNCS this weekend, you know what I'm saying? Where do I need to place on average every game?
Yeah. This is
That's
great.
a good question. I wish I'll have to get back to you on that. That's a good question.
That's a good one. Okay.
FMF. Before I actually ask you like my a question here, I do have to say I just clicked on your name on Discord and it says your Discord username is literally ._system_brook. And you are clearly very passionate about this, bro. Like you're riding for this. So
wait, what? Oh my god, dude! This branding is about how this just makes no sense.
I rate that for one.
That's right.
This is like Kinch in an alternate universe, bro. This is like Kinch who's just like kind of gone rogue.
No, 100%. I will say, from someone who's not as smart as you when it comes to the math and the numbers, I've always somewhat agreed in the sense of like when you look sometimes about how those points are distributed, if you're thinking about Fortnite as a battle royale, as like, you know, who can survive the longest, right? Who can out survive everybody? Like the actual time somebody survived and like the difference in that time that they survived sometimes between like a 17th versus like a 6th. Sometimes in some lobbies it's not like a crazy amount of time difference, right? And I always felt like that was like a weird thing. I never knew how to solve it or if it was something that needed solving. But I do like where you're going here. The only thing I'd say now is I'd just like to see someone test this format in like an event. Like you know, I can't. I just want to see it try.
I've wanted to see that for 6 years, Levin. Yeah.
You know what? Shoot me a DM. Send me, you know, give me a whole like thing. I'm gonna find somebody to run this tournament with like some decent players, and we actually
let's do it. I'm genuinely down, dude. I've never heard this much passion for a format. Yeah, let's do it. Let's got to figure it out. I mean, I will say as well though, FMF, and you're clearly a smart guy, so you probably know this, but Epic's just doing formats that make people force them, like tries to force them to play a certain way. We've learned that that can go completely wrong. They're like, we need everyone to play for the win and nothing else in the solo victory finals. Otherwise, you make no money. Meanwhile, the pros are like, yo, fuck that. I'm going to drop a 50 bomb. I don't care. So like, it doesn't always work, but they're trying. And then even the most recent format now, which format is it for the solo cash cup qualifiers? So yeah, 65 points for a win. Each elim is 1, and a 20 elim 6th is worth the same as a 0 elim 2nd, because 30 of the 65 points you get at the very end too. So again, it makes no sense. Like, you're gonna try and tell me getting 20 elims and coming 6th is worth the same amount of skill as a 0 kill 2nd? Obviously not, and they know that, but they're trying to force people to play a certain way. They want the open games to be stacked. They want, again, it comes down to the fact they want the worst players to do better sometimes. They do it with the weapons, they do it with the format. Sometimes they want bad players to beat good players because it gives them hope and it gives them a chance. So I think that's where sometimes the disproportionate formats come from, but those shouldn't bleed into major tournaments. That should obviously never be the way with FNCS, you know, major tournaments. I do agree.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I genuinely don't have much more to add here outside of I just want to see it. I just want to see it played around with. I mean,
let's do it.
I'm always an
Make it happen
for seeing things be tried. So I'm sort of down on that side. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. I'll shoot you a DM.
Yes,
do
please do.
Please
do.
Please, FN Math. We'll try and make it happen.
Yes, we will try our best to make this happen. Wow. Bro said, you know, maths. Yeah, just a little bit. You know.
Yeah, a little bit. I do a little bit of math, my man. Like dude has like spent the last 6 years, like it's kind of like in an alternate universe, like superheroes, like the supervillain sits in their room, he's just sitting there just like crunching numbers, like, fuck you, Epic, this makes no sense. Oh man, if they like, I did the same thing at 11. I could see you thinking it too, and sees you experienced it. Like, as soon as he's telling me how bad the format is now, I'm just thinking 0 kill, like 2 kill 11.
Oh, it's been bad.
2 kill 11. The fact that solos, the biggest tournaments ever in the history of Fortnite, a 2 kill 11th was worth 0 points. Dying on spawn instantly meant the same as a 2 kill 11th. Like, it was just crazy.
It's been bad. I think that's also Fortnite's like thing, is like they just never really have given us the good side of the game. They're always like, it's always like they make it really bad and then they change it. You're like, dude, yes, like this is so much better, but really like it should not be like that at all. It's like, it's
just less shit, and we're like, yes, thank you for giving us less shit.
Good.
But, okay, so were you like, did you know, like, it might be a dumb question, but during the OG days, we're still on the format question, during the OG days, did you know how bad the format was? Like, were you guys giving feedback, or is it because, again, you hadn't experienced better, it was kind of just the way it was? Like, surely you guys were like, yo, I just got a 2 kill 11th, why have I got nothing? But was there no way of knowing it was better? Were you guys trying to give feedback? Like, or did you guys just accept it?
Yeah, I think we just accepted it. It was also kind of like, we were kind of in the moment of like, this game is awesome. They know everything. They're masters. Great. Yeah, that, and also like it's just like everything. You kind of have to adapt around. You're like, okay, like don't die now. Get this placement. Like, let's go kill this team, or like we need one more kill. Let's get. So you play around it. It's kind of like how the forecast tower had been, or like we get points for that. Like, let's play. We need 3 points. Let's get the forecast tower. Sure. So it's like, kind of just do the same thing. But it was definitely bad.
I think it's interesting because I think sometimes the problem we have in comp is that there's so many different stakeholders, right? So many different people who are involved in making competitive happen, from like us as viewers to players to Epic to so many different people. And sometimes like concessions have to be made for like different people that, you know, some other stakeholder might not understand. And so like, I remember back in the day, like the early like War Legend tournaments, they would always play around with like point formats that I think are much more similar to like what like games like PUBG and HotlineFN might have done, where it was like, you know, like when you get like the triple digit points and stuff like that, because they wanted to try and make it as like accurate as possible, for example, right? Like stuff like that. Like they tried stuff like that in the past because, you know, they thought, okay, well, this is a format that's more competitive, makes more sense, it's more specific. But then like you got to make the concession of, from a viewing experience, formats like that where like you come in and like one person has 422 points, the next person has like 125. It was just like weird, and like points would be in the thousands, and they like things were just weird at a time, and like it's always really weird. And I think the key thing, and I feel like I say this at every given opportunity, is let's just try more.
Yeah, let's just try it.
Let's just try more. Like, I feel like the past couple of years in Fortnite, I guess it's natural that it's been this way. Like early on, people used to just try stuff non-stop, right? Like we were just trying things because it was so fresh, it was so new. I feel like now everybody is a bit more complacent about how things are. Like, let's just like switch things up. Let's just try some new stuff sometimes. What's the harm in it?
Yeah.
So
I'm down for it.
It's almost like we had mix-up Mondays, lightning cups, all this stupid bullshit that was supposed to be used for anything like this. Like, it's just, instead of being like DMRs give 20 points, and it's like, whoa, like we're never gonna use that. What are we testing this for? This is never gonna mean anything. We're just doing it for the sake of doing it at this point.
Do you guys remember like the OG Mix Up Mondays was like sniper only? It was like $5,000 for first, something like that. It was crazy. That was insane.
Those were a little bit fun though. You make it goofy enough, and I feel like it's at least like a fun kind of like chill breather for the pros a little bit. I felt like the squad victory cups have felt like that. Like it felt like just different enough. There's a bit of money, and it's kind of like a decompression. But I do think, yeah, like you said, Levin, there should be some way of testing this kind of stuff and just seeing if people like it and seeing if it works. Because until DreamHack came along, that's when we started being like, yo, placements should come out way earlier. They ran the first DreamHack online qualifier, I remember, and then being like, yo, why are people on 892 points, but being like, wait, this is so good. Like, the best pros are coming out. If I get 40, if I play my mats out and go from 45th to 30th for the first time ever, it meant something. Like it was like, I don't know.
No, it's good. I think, especially with that, it's like always making sure that even when we're doing that, like we've always asked for more control with like settings and being able to control things ourselves. Like
I wish
it's all good and fun sometimes, like with Epic trying to do things and test things their ways, right? But again, it's different when you are a multi-billion-dollar company and you have so much, you know, checks and balances and all these different things, right? Whereas, like, if you just gave us the tools sometimes, it's like, you know, Zake can just bitch everyone in a Discord and say, do this way, or you're kicked from the server, and then we can actually try stuff, right? It's like, it's very, very different. And that's why, it was like, I'd always love for us to be able to try things with Surge. Like, what if we figured out, you know, through because we had control, we actually figured out, we can actually make a game that flows really nicely if we have these mid-game objectives, these surge thresholds ourselves, and it takes the pressure off of Epic to have to like try figure out those things in an emergency where, you know, a situation's gone wrong. It's like, just give us more tools. Let's try more things.
You've got a dude who's devoted his life to the last 6 years of learning the perfect integral point format. Like, let him test this. Like, give us some like platform for this dude to figure out whether it's actually better. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, would be nice.
Dude, Ozzy, I've just been stewing in my room for the last 6 years. Like, darn you, Epic.
I can tell, man. It's fantastic. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. From your passion alone, I haven't ran a lot of third-party tournaments in a while. Like, I want to like get a prize pool going to like test this somehow and just find out, just for the sake of you, bro, because you have clearly earned this.
Yeah, no, 100%. We'll cast it. Me and Ozzy will get
genuinely, we'll do it.
You know,
I'm down. I'm down.
All right, thank you very much, FN Math, man. Appreciate you calling.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Jess. Peace.
I will say as a little disclaimer here, guys. Sorry for the next one as well. I feel bad if I'm like cutting someone off or I'm cutting the call off and stuff. I'm not trying to be a dick. We've got like a Discord where it's like I'm in Australia, Levin's in the UK, Cease is in NA. We get a call in from Canada. There's like 300 ping on either side of this conversation sometimes, where there's like a good. We're all kind of waiting to be like, is the other person gonna talk? So just I want to preface that. If I sound like a dick in this episode, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to cut people off. In my ears, they haven't spoken yet, and then all of a sudden it catches up, and I've been talking over them for like 2 seconds. So I'm sorry.
Trust me, it happens. It happens. It's all good. Let's get the next caller in, though. Let's keep it rolling. New caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Pingu. I'm from London.
Welcome. Fellow Londoner. What is your take, my friend?
So we all know that esports is eventually going to, like, not replace, but come into the same league as sports in terms of, like, mainstream viewing. Because it will take a few years, but it will happen. And I think that if you look at the development of professionalism in Fortnite competitiveness, like in Fortnite competitive, if you look at how it's increased over the past few years, Fortnite's, even though like being the type of luck-based game it is actually on track to become a major esport in that scene. And I think all it takes is for Epic to implement like a more balanced meta, or even just it could be something external like the ESL we've seen.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying it's like because I think some people would argue Fortnite is major in the sense of like in terms of like viewership numbers, all these things, like Fortnite already does quite well. But you're saying in terms of like becoming considered respected, like some of the esports, like a CS and League and stuff like that, because obviously it's not
if you look at,
respected like that at all.
if you look at like the Fortnite pros, you see a bunch of kids screaming and stuff. If you look at the CS pros, you see like an organized team in jerseys standing on stage together. But I think, I think if you look at like the development of pros, like you used to have Mongrel, Mitra, Benji being the best, just screaming and I can swear on here, right?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
They used to just be screaming and shit, like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you look now, Cold and Acorn winning FNCS, and it's like calm in every situation. There's no shouting until they win, and that's what you get with the like the Valorant teams or whatever. It's like watching a football team, you know.
This one I'm mad passionate about as well, because it's the esports versus sports debate as well. I feel like personally I disagree because I don't want it to be. I don't want us to get to the point where people talking shit and talking smack and we try to make this all professional, and after Peterbot wins an FNCS, we sit him down and how did you feel about today's progressing events? Like, no, fucking tell him he's dog shit. You got pissed on, dickhead. Like, I still wanted to have that vibe. And within Fortnite as well, especially, I think Fortnite thrives on the fact that it's open. Anyone can play, anyone can compete. If they're 13 and they're cracked as shit, they win the tournament, they win money. I don't want to like kind of shoehorn us into the Valorant where they got to sign a team and get psychologists and they have to be media trained and they have to be able to answer interviews properly because then they won't get a sponsors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of us idolize like the Valorant, Counter-Strike, esports and just see them as better, where a lot of them, for the most part, have massive issues. Their tier 2 scenes suck. No one makes any money until they make it a tier 1. And then if they have one bad season, they get dropped and now they get no money. Like, I feel like it's just, I like Fortnite where it is. I like esports where it is. And I don't want us to try to push it too hard towards that traditional route. I like that ESL's doing their thing and I think it's awesome on the side. And it was really cool to see. But I think going down that route too far will be what really does not kill Fortnite competitive, but hurts it massively. Like, Cease, you've been around from the start. You were talking about before about how mature everyone used to be. I do wish at times the scene was a bit more mature for sure. But even then when it was mature, it still wasn't like Val or CS, you know what I mean? It was still like, it had its moments and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that all goes back to let me agree with your point. I think that Fortnite being different actually makes it more appealing and actually makes it interesting. Like that it's not like you're signing jerseys, you're signed to a team. It is different. That is cool. I do like that it's like that. But I do wish, I think, okay, this goes back to, this is everything in Fortnite. Every tournament organizer, doesn't matter who you are, ESL, whatever, Epic Games, whoever's hosting tournaments, there's like zero like competitive, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's like zero PR training. Like the fact that like I can be playing in a DreamHack and just hear Kanata just scream like, "You just got pissed on!" Like, get the fuck out. It's like, dude, like that's gotta be like somebody, please, one tournament organizer, just be like, all right, look, this is ESL, this isn't Epic Games. You can do that at a LAN at Epic Games, but you can't do it here. Just be polite. And like, let's just, because it'll bring the player like maturity up. I feel like you just can't say that.
So you want to see that? You're the opposite of it. You want to see them kind of go like control. Okay, to be fair, there is a line. I do think there is a line. Like
there's a line, but it's never been drawn. It's never been drawn. Like you can almost do anything you want in Fortnite. Like you could literally go up and probably like push the guy over, and like they're gonna be like Red Bull Land's gonna be like like he's drinking a Red Bull, he's fine. Like he's good. Like he could be like.
I get you exaggerating, but I think So where I stand on it is, I think that Fortnite did something in esports that hadn't been done, in that it actually tapped into authentically what brings people to gaming, in that you can just get involved. Like, yes, in a lot of esports, people love it because, you know, they have these tracks that feel similar to what we see in traditional sports. And I like that. Like, I came from a game like that in CS. Like, I love that. I still want that in some capacity. It's why I like what ESL was trying to do, in that I think having that as like a second track to what, you know, Fortnite have already in their open track, I think that makes sense. I think that's good. It's like you get a bit of both. I don't think Fortnite needs to try and be more structured in terms like compared to Fortnite, like to how some of those other games are. You know, for all the successes we've seen with a league, with like because I know the one thing people always say is like the franchise model of having like orgs and shit like that. Like for every bloody league, there's a, you know, CODs league, right? Where like things just fail, right? And don't work.
Yeah, terrible. Have, like, most franchises have done bad. Yeah.
Right? Like most examples of franchising and things like these in other esports where it's more structured and this and that, it's again, they have so many different problems that we just don't see because we're not a part of those games. Fortnite's openness is amazing for so many different reasons. And even though it does have its clear negatives that we all experience on a daily basis, I think bringing things like ESL along to give you a bit of the other flavor if you like that is good. And of course, you know, there still needs to be more development to what ESL is, and you know, I'm sure they're working on that. But I think we are getting to a better spot. I think, if anything, like, you know, things like UEFN giving us the potential to have those things is really good. It's just goes back to what, you know, we were sort of talking about earlier, where it's like, okay, just give us more tools, give us more resources to work with, and we can cook up our own things. And I think when you look at what Tim Sweeney and Epic have been doing, I think that's what they sort of want. Like, they want this to be able to exist sort of on its own almost, and like work on it on you know, by itself. So I don't think Fortnite needs to be anything it's not. I think it's
maybe it's my bad for kind of not putting my point across correctly, but I more meant along the lines of when you have like a game where you have like comms going everywhere and there's not much structure to the practice and stuff, you're not gonna the skill base of the pros isn't gonna develop as far. And what I meant in terms of it being like an organized esport is more along the lines of you have a very with Fortnite now you're getting a very advanced
game.
Stable high skill, and it's still openness, because openness is like is what makes it different and so attractive to everyone. It still needs to be an open game,
but you're saying
unlike
like the game
Valorant.
Itself.
Well, yeah, the game itself, the skill so much higher, and now that and when you look at it in perspective compared to the other esports, that will keep like the same originality that Fortnite has, but also you've got now the like the respect, you know.
So to simplify it a bit, are you sort of saying like, and if I'm completely misconstruing what you're saying, like, let me know. Is it sort of like if the game almost didn't change as much, like if it was just like more stable, like what you have, like, you know, year to year in compared to Fortnite is mostly the same, is like that would help in terms of providing a better structure. It's like, you know, the game, like if the game wasn't sort of changing as much and things weren't all crazy and all over the place and doing too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You have a great open format with a like, it's really original and has a very loyal player base. And now you actually have the opportunity, especially what you've seen with like the pros, like I said, going from MMB screaming to Cold and Acorn, like perfect comms, to just make it one of the most highly skilled, best, most entertaining to watch, but original esports.
I think to the problem with that now is that like we've been conditioned for otherwise. Like if now, because I've complained about this in the past. I remember chapter 3 and like even at points early last year, like one thing I'd always say to like other commentators when we talk is like, I've always found it a bit mickey, if I'm being honest, from someone that comes from like more traditional sports backgrounds. I've always found it a bit mickey how like different the metas are before globals. It's like one person qualifies in Major 1 in a meta that's like just maybe like not as hard, weird, wacky. Like even when they would change like actual formats, like even the actual formats changing across like majors, I always used to be like, I don't really like, that's weird.
True.
We I feel like even as a community, we never even like put much stock into that. Like this team qualified in Major 1 when it was like Hammer season. These guys qualified Major 2. Katana's like, well, actually that was a bit mickey, and they called it like, we never really put much stock into that, and so I always used to like feel bad about that. The problem is though, is like, if you don't, like, a world where Fortnite just doesn't change and like the main comp mode just doesn't change much, it
dies, bro.
Not be Fortnite.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
you know.
I mean, a changing meta is what helps determine the best team. If you have a changing meta and teams can adapt, then that's one of the main things that you need in an esport. But you do need a solid game mode. You need to do it.
Depends on the esport.
It depends.
Depends on the esport.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but
it's just for me, it's tough because it's kind of like if we got the perfect meta, like if it's my perspective, if we got the perfect meta for next season, like my favorite meta of all time, I guarantee if I had that for the 5 years or 6 years when I'm watching comp Fortnite, I would have quit by now. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I've got to see it. From me, like I would not be following this game if I had even my perfect meta. Like I loved everything about it. I would eventually get bored of it. It's the reason why I don't watch Counter-Strike, like other games like Rocket League maybe as much, because I do like the changing aspect of it a fair bit. So I don't know.
I think a counter to this, kind of like in the idea of like Valorant and CS is like could have the same meta or similar meta, switch certain items out every 2 seasons, so you kind of have like a consistency there. But also more consistent map changes. That would be interesting. Like imagine like 2 a year, the map entirely changes, like the entire map. You have to pick a brand new spot, learn it. It's a lot more like development side, but like that could be really cool.
So or you can pick through or changes, more map changes.
Yeah, or you just simply could pick through the maps. I know that's definitely like that's fairy tale land. Like you never.
That's
like,
isn't that PUBG,
that could be.
I think it's
that could be really cool. Picking through the maps.
That would be sick as well.
Another fairy tale would be like you have the same, you keep everything the same except for grands or actually no, this wouldn't really work. But what hypothetically?
That'd be kind of. That'd be the opposite, bro. I kind of
you have a perfect meta which is used for the there's the most balanced and fair, which is used for the top tournaments, and everything else is still kept, changing, and it keeps the game interesting.
So you'd have like a tournament mode, like
if you maybe you remove certain items and you made the maps like slightly different in certain areas for the lands, so you just have the ultimate experience.
ESL has stepped up, I think, in this area. Like I really like that you kind of have that same. It's the same. Like it's always the same map, like hardpoint, whatever. I would love to have like clarification publicly. I think would be great. I don't know why they just don't share these things. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I would love to have clarification of like what are the rules for UFN? Can we do whatever we want? Can we create infinite amount of leagues? Like they always gatekeep it somehow. Like it's always still Epic's control. It's like, no, hey, you have to make a hard point in CTF map. You can't make a hard point that looks like a battle royale. Like it's like, dude, what? Come on.
Yeah,
like,
it's because you put money on it. As soon as you put money on it, you have to then go through their tournament organizer kind of approval sessions, and that's where it all goes to like absolute crap. I mean, the rumor was that ESL got approval for this tournament literally a week and a half before it started. And the fact that I got booked to go to Melbourne to promote it the first time around 3 days before it happened, and then I got booked in to fly to Dallas 8 days before it happened. And basically, it's all happening super last minute. I will say as well, going way back, on the kind of like we're kind of saying ESL's doing a great job here. On your topic, Cease, I don't know if you did hear, they did actually warn Peterbot that he wasn't allowed to be toxic anymore. And if he did, he would get fined for money, and he did actually have to follow that. So like when I was filming him on the next day, expecting a crazy reaction when he won, he was like nothing. I was like, bro, what? He's like, I'm gonna get fined. Like I've gotten warned. So but have like I think ESL, I think ESL's doing it
as well. Like in the actual Saudi land, like people were scared to say things because they knew you'd get fined. So
I feel like you have to have a briefing though. Like, look, this is how we're running this. Like it also just sets the standard. It sets the standard for like ESL's coming in. ESL's a huge company. This should be a major deal, right? Like ESL's coming in. It's done their rules, their way. Like, all right, look, hey, we can be toxic at the Epic lands, but like ESL, we have to take it 10 times more serious. They've got media briefings, like whatever, the way you answer questions, like all of that you would do it in a traditional sport could be done through ESL and still have that ESL traditional Fortnite Epic games, open.
Yeah. Fair. I think it's been both. I think we're all just going back to the same point of like what we got with Fortnite's good, it's wacky, it's crazy, it changes all the time. Peterbot, you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And then we have our ESL that's like maybe like the vision of what it would be like without that, which is cool. Fortnite's got a big enough viewership, player base, money base if you do it properly to support both, and then people can just kind of do what they like. Because I like the aspects of both. I like the crazy wackiness, but I enjoyed ESL so much, having set teams, set orgs, having it be more like that. It was really, really cool. So I don't know. I think we've gone way off the topic of the original point, but overall, I think Fortnite's just got to be different to every other esport, though. And to become a mainstream esport, I think it already is. It's going to be different niche. Forever. Yeah, it's niche, and it needs to be.
Yeah, like some games are just like that. Like they're big, but they're niche. Like we're never gonna appeal. Like the things that people love, League and CS4, you're just never gonna get that here.
I mean, don't you guys think that if they just, it's like, yeah, it is niche, but like, could we not get like more promotion and more like a bigger timeline of like, hey, look, Globals is coming, boom, boom, boom. Like now, like I know it's obviously been announced for a while, but like, can we not like make it like a World Cup FIFA match? Like, this is like huge. Like, let's go. This is here. Like they did for World Cup. They had like cars driving around. There's banners all around the city. Like I think it'll be similar. But that would definitely be cool. They could
for
do
sure.
Yeah, no, we could definitely do more promotion wise. Like we can do more. I think the reason I've always said like the amount of people that play Fortnite is insane. Like you could have the biggest esport in the world purely with just the amount of people that play. It's about how do we make those people interested and invested in competitive Fortnite, right? And that's always the challenge, and I think it's something that Epic are very conscious of. Like even if people don't like certain decisions they've made, I think they've done a lot of that to try and like you know, make a better pathway for people. I still think there's much ways we can improve that pathway much better, right? But it's like, yeah, it's again.
I'm glad I don't work at Epic. I don't got to make these choices.
Oh yeah. You're gonna piss someone
complain.
off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can complain, and then I never have to put my money where my mouth is. Dude, there's so many things I thought would be terrible. We get them, and they're amazing, and I'm like, well, I was fucking wrong. But it's just, and that's what it is now. I didn't have to like ruin it for other people.
Yeah,
I like that one though.
Sure.
Thank you,
very
Pingu.
much, Pingu.
Appreciate it, bro. Now you're gonna be doing is last caller coming in.
Yeah, we got.
Thank you, Pingu.
We got last caller coming in, and then we will wrap things up. I want to say a big shout out to everybody that's been hanging out watching, all the people on Twitch, all the people on YouTube. If you're listening to this right now on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this on audio platforms, please leave the podcast a rating, give us a 5-star, you know, let us know your thoughts, leave a lovely review for us if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to, but yeah, appreciate you all hanging out and listening. We do have that final caller though, so let's get them in. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm calling from Manitoba, Canada.
Hey,
Ooh,
Canada,
I don't even know what that is. I know Canada is. What the hell is Manitoba? But yeah, sorry, bro.
I'm with you, Jose. I don't know where that is, but it sounds like a very peaceful, lovely place. What is your take, my friend?
My take is that none of the players coming from like EU or OCE will place in like the top 15 to 20, and that this Grands is going to be a major upset in who places in the top 5.
Ooh. So okay, so to clarify, so you're saying that any of the teams who swapped regions, so we've got like Kindex and Phantom going Middle East to EU, we've got obviously all the big names coming from EU to NA, and then we've had Alex Worthy coming NA. You don't think any of them are going to place inside the, what was it, top
15.
10?
Like 15 to
top
20
15.
range.
Top 15.
Bruh. Wow. So you don't think they're going to qual. So you don't think there is going to be a single person who just swapped regions who's going to qual for LAN?
No, and the reason I think that is more or less because they have to completely relearn the meta. Like, if you look at EU compared to NA, they work quite differently. If you look at how like Clix and Veno have been trying to learn each other, Clix is still somewhat struggling from what I can see. Like to learn Veno's play style. So they have been like they won game 1 of one of their cash cups, and then they didn't make a end game. Like after that, I think they made 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And like from what I've seen, like Veno was Veno and Tayson were the highest placing team to come over here. They placed 9th, and they just placed what?
They placed
22nd.
Yeah, I think it was 11th. Yeah, it was even
11th.
Yeah. But either way,
from what?
And
Oh wait,
now,
yeah.
Okay. Damn. I mean, this one's spicy. I mean, Cease, do you have any takes since you're the one who just got invaded, bro? We haven't asked anything about the other regions coming over and stuff. How do you feel about it? You think they're going to do well? You think they're going to hold up? You think it's like NA's easier, EU's harder? Like,
yeah, I don't even think we have to I don't even think we got to talk about Middle East coming to EU. We don't got to talk about any other region. Like, it's all good. We'll move on to just NA. No, I think that he's definitely got a hot take. So, you know, but
I like it. First hot take of the day. Everything's been
it might be a hot take.
Far, you know?
I think that some of the teams will definitely qualify. I don't want to say exactly. Actually, no. Nah, screw it. I think
do it, bro. Let's go reverse 2K in this bitch. They all suck. Let's call some beef, man. Come on.
I think Tayson and then we'll qual. I just have a finger on like Yapko will qual. Like that guy's just indestructible. I think that's Tayson, Vino, and Yapko, I think will be the only ones. I think like I don't understand why Kylie would come over. I don't understand some of these other. I don't know all the duos. I gotta look it up. But like,
dude, Kylie and Vert doing well. Kylie and Vert just came like 4th in the duo Kashi though. Like to be fair, like so I will say as well. So you're coming in, C-Boy, saying this where I will give the context when I was not following as closely. Every single EU player that just came to NA made the duo Cash Cup finals today. A little bit Mickey meta, but literally every single one of them. So that is kind of a crazy showing already. To now that none of them will get inside the top 15. I mean, it's hard. So Veno Clix is a tough one because Clix has sucked at getting his early surge for his entire career. He admits that. Anyone who follows Clix admits that. We talked about it on this podcast. Levin saying that he was in a call watching Clix try to get his early surge and genuinely didn't know if he was trolling because it was that bad, right? So like it's a new playstyle for him entirely. But I think saying that Yomzo and Tayson, for example, I think Yomzo and Tayson play exactly the same already. I think as long as they don't have any chemistry issues or something goes catastrophically wrong, they're both just looking as good as they ever normally do in this one. I mean, Kylie and Vert was definitely another one. Mixon and Blaha were like a top 15 on EU easily. They were top 5 on EU comfortably, depending on the meta. So like that's definitely one to be able to do it as well. I think Alex and Worthy are mad biased with that land spot up their sleeve. If they play a proper drop spot, lock it down. Yo, if you drop on us, we're gonna grief you. No land for you. With Alex and Worthy with a good drop spot, top 15 is extremely doable. When they played on land in the qualifiers, Uncon, they came 6th. Like, there's placements there to back it up. So I gotta disagree, but I love the balls you had to make that statement, bro. That was a take.
I think also something you gotta remember is there's only like, was it? I can only think of 2, Mongrel and Savage, and then Mixon and Blocka or whatever. Those are like the only 2 actual EU duos.
Yeah.
Everyone else is EU NA. So it's kind of like, if Tayson and Vino play together, I mean, you would even guaranteed they're top 10ing it. They're getting the call to global NA. Like now it's like Tayson and Clicks, Yamzo or whatever. Tayson, Yamzo, Clicks and Vino. It's like it definitely does feel like they could be misaligned. And then for like Alex and them, I mean, that's a Australian duo coming over. I just saw that
depends what they do.
I just saw that they might be contesting Restored Real. So I'm not gonna lie, they probably won't even qualify for the grand finals, Aussie. So I hate to say that, but like,
I'm saying they don't go there. Like if they go Restored Reals, bro, I swear to God, I'm gonna be like, bro, you had the one chance. I'm gonna be so pissed if you wasted on this. Like I'm pushing as hard as I can to be like, don't do that. But I mean, it'll be interesting. So, okay, so Cease, you kind of touched on that. So you're saying that if we took like a top 5 EU team straight out of EU, popped them into NA, they're easily doing it, right? Like you're not trying to argue that, NA is that much harder of a lobby. Okay, so it's the splitting of the play styles is kind of like what's throwing us off here. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like, I don't know. Clicks and Veno, man, forecast tower 80% of the time. Like, dude, like you give Veno
also,
almost anyone, bro, and he's
crazy.
gonna get that. Yeah, he's gonna
Veno. You could literally put Tayson and Vino in just like grand finals, randomize them. They get like what Skittles gets like, or what am I saying? Tayson gets Skittles and Vino gets like Rapid, and like they would probably both still top 10, like easy, like So like they have so much individual skill, and EU is also like definitely ahead of NA on the side of like because they have individual skill, they can like lead their team. And it's like, dude, I've seen Vino just like Clicks is just like he's just like a dog. He's just sitting there. He's like trying to like learn from Vino the entire time. He doesn't really know what's going on, but Vino's like so clear and concise of what he wants to do. All Clicks has to do is just shoot his gun. So it's like I'm kind of glad that every player from, at least from what I can see, is not like a crazy IGL. I think it'd be very crazy to have like a Queasy come over to NA. Like that would be like nuts. I feel like he would just dominate and win every lobby, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Damn. Levin's biased. Let's just hear it. He likes I'm gassing up EU. He's like, dude, like let's raise the flag.
We'll do our talking in the server, man. I'm seeing a lot of all this chit chat. Oh man, hey, this EU players, this, all that. Let's just do the talking in the server, man. I feel like if I want to get real with this, and I've had a bunch of conversations. I saw Vivid in the chat, and Vivid was laughing because we had a meeting about FNs yesterday, and we were going a bit back and forth, and it was getting a bit spicy in there. All in good fun, though. I love Vivid. I personally think almost everyone is doing way too much. Like I feel like we're all just overcooking a lot with some of these situations, in the sense of like, I just don't think, like, I think one, again, you highlighted a bit there, Cease, is like, yes, it's EU players coming over. Like sometimes, like these are just good Fortnite players playing with good Fortnite players on a region that is difficult, whether it's similar difficulty, less difficult, or more difficult than the region they're from. These are some of the best Fortnite players in the world playing with some of the best Fortnite players in the world. I feel like we're just doing way too much. I feel like we're just overcooking it.
I mean, you can't look at it and be like, all EU teams coming over, we're cooked. All EU is calling on NA. It's like, you also got to remember, on top of that, you got Dropspots, Rapid and Bad and Booga. I'm just gonna throw like a random name, just goes contest, Clicks and Vino. Like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna contest them. Like, it could happen easy. Like, all these EU teams could just genuinely not qualify. Like, I hope that people fucking put the flag in the ground and be like, this is USA territory, get out of here, and just like all like the bottom 10 teams go like just randomly switch around and just contest. Like, that'd be awesome.
I get we have to make a big deal out of it for the sake of storyline, because it is interesting. Like, I'm so excited to watch Cash Cup today, right? To see how these teams do. But like, at the end of the day, it is just Tayson, a very good Fortnite player, playing with Yomzo, a very good Fortnite player, Like,
I wish they all
like,
stuck. It genuinely made it so much more boring that they split and play with NA players. Because it's just like, what does this mean now? You're going to have people say that if, like, let's say Yoms or Clicks win their first FNCS now. Oh, it's because they play with EU players, because EU's how much better they can win every FNCS. And I feel like it's not going to be as fun. And then it's going to have so many asterisks on it. Like, I agree. And I mean, I don't know. I also think I'm just going to kind of like go back onto this one again. None of them have already qualified for LAN. Any team not qualified for LAN this season is at such a disadvantage. It's insane. There are literally 4 to 5 drops on EU and NA right now that are just no-go zones. You go here and you're not going to LAN. We're not letting you go to LAN. You just threw your whole chance of the whole year. So like we have these gigantic, massive, awesome POIs just locked down now, which that changed the leaderboard massively as well.
Especially
like,
with Alex season coming over. Like it changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like,
it's 5. There's 5 spots now.
It's insane. I think I definitely, I was about to say your point of like, yeah, Clicks wins, like no one's gonna care. I think that I want to know your guys' take this a little bit on that topic is like, who do you think is gonna win this FNCS and NA? If I had to put a name out there, Peterbot Poyo, they're winning. I wouldn't even, I would bet like 100 times over that they're gonna win this. I think even with the EU teams, it's like you're still not as messy, like you're still not as clean as like Poyo and Peterbot are gonna be. And also like the confidence, I don't think anybody has the level of confidence that Peterbot and Poyo have in a lobby. Like, dude, they get off to like a 30-point lead in first place or like 30 points above second, whatever. Like, dude, they're already winning. Like, it's just over. Like, Jason, if he has a 30-point lead, he's not gonna play the same way Peterbot's gonna play with a 30-point lead. Like, it's just not the same.
Yeah. I mean, and also like I want to kind of go with the Kanata Cooper have the infinite crossbow and they're looking really good too, but literally Peterbot Poyo just got pissed at Kanata killing them once, ran them down for 2 games, stole the crossbow, and then won both those games. So it's like you like that play is just insane. To be able to just kind of do that is nuts.
He controls Redline Rig and Nitrodome like completely. Like he can control any spot on the map. Like you mess with Peterbot, you are going to die. Like your game is over. Like you cannot. It's impossible. So it's like I think that he's intentionally not landing on the crossbow. Like everyone knows the crossbow wins games. He won games with the Grim Gate coin. He can control it. If they mess with him, he can control it. I mean, I think I would not be surprised if we see them like push Nitrodome a couple games in like a grand finals.
I mean, I want to talk about the sorry, you go, Seaway.
No, what I was gonna say is like it's like for the like currently the conversation is for all the EU players coming over to NA. But I would actually say the same thing if it was NA players going to EU. Like, yeah, I'm from NA, but I wouldn't say I'm biased in that. I would say either way, if pros went either direction this season specifically, due to the small window in between last FNCS, then everyone got here for ESL, and then they had like 3 weeks to scrim and actually practice on a completely different meta. And like, in my opinion, the way the 2 regions work is completely different. Because if you look at EU, they, historically speaking, have been much more of a like surge. Like they rely much more on surge, which is why tactics such as like the ones that Veno uses, that a lot of BloodX's clients use, is so useful on EU. Versus if you look at how, look at how they look at what Peterbot and Poyo did last season to the whole region. They quite literally conditioned them. And I feel like with where Peterbot and Poyo are dropping this season is actually really smart, because they're dropping Rig, which then they can insta rotate onto Kanata before he gets Bow, and then they lock down Bow, which from there which from there anything can happen. But like the reason why I don't think a lot of these teams will do amazing is because, well, all the teams that have qualled will be on drops, so that takes out the OCE drop. Well, actually, that's the thing. I kind of feel like no matter where, like the fact that Alex and Worthy have qualled, I feel like due to the fact that they're coming from OCE, some people will still be like, oh, it's OCE, it's a small region, so they're going to push them even though they have qualled, which will probably throw at least one team's grands by doing that. And then I saw someone in your chat a second ago saying that Clicks and Veno currently are conned by 5 teams today.
So is that actually what it is today as well? I mean, it's going to be messy. Like we finally have teams moving regions, and the EU players actually get respect at least. So like, no one's going to drop on Clicks and Veno. I mean, like, Cease's plant the flag in the ground. Fuck it, they're not from here. We're going to just make Clicks in with them, go get them out of the region type thing. But like, you go to Yeah, true.
Bucky was
Yeah,
like, why would I
Bucky.
con Tayson?
Yeah, he left. He was
Bucky.
like, yeah, he respects him more. Exactly. Yeah, and that's Bucky, who's usually like the least likely to respect an opponent. So yeah, it is. Where you get people small region coming over, we've seen it time and time again. Whoever they are, they'll just get landed on. Like, but then again, last season we gave is Paco and Mixon a decent, really good uncon split. And I don't want to talk smack on Paco and Mixon, but you ask 50 grand finalist NA teams, yo, who's Tayson? Everyone's going to tell you, yo, who's Paco? Some of them might be able to tell you. Like, they'll heard of him, but they won't know him that well, and they still respect enough to give him the split. So, like, EU might even be getting more drops this season from NA pros because they respect him even more, which is going to affect him massively.
Yeah, to key in on some of the points you're making, C-Boy, like, you're talking about, you know, the difficulty in terms of learning the meta and this. Like, all of these guys would have had to learn the meta on EU anyway. And we have time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, after the first 2 weeks of quals, most of these guys won't struggle to qual because it's not hard to qual for semifinals in FNCS if you are a tier 1 player. And then they have 3 weeks to learn the game before semis. Then they have semis. Then they have grands. Like, we have a lot of time still for these guys to learn the game, if that is, like, the concern that we have with some of these guys. And, like, the way I look at it is, like, in the case, because again, just based off of like what your take was, because your take was like none of these teams, right? And there will be some of them that I'm not as confident in. So, you know, I am cherry picking, you know, certain ones here. But like in the case of like Iomzo and Tayson, right? When was the last time you would have predicted Iomzo to not get top 15 in NA? You wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's been
True.
like, do you know what I mean? So like, why is it that now he won't just because he's playing with Tayson? Wait a minute. We're talking about Tayson? Like, what are we talking about? That's how I feel about it. You know, it's like even in the case of Clix, I'd say the same thing. Like, I don't know what Clix's placements have been exactly, but like, when was the last time Clix didn't get top 15 in FNCSs? And like, how many times has that happened in the past like 2 years? I'm guessing he's gotten top 15 more than he's not, right? And so it's like, and now he's playing with who? Venom? It's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? You know, it's like, I get, yes, there are things that are different. Trust me, I've seen VOD review sessions between EU and NA players where like both sides can easily call out where you can't do this in EU, you can do this in NA, no, you can't do that in NA, you can do, like, a lot of these players already know the concessions, they know what they can and can't do in either region, and I don't think it takes that long for like the best players in the world to figure that out when we are, what, 6 weeks away from FNCS Grand Finals. Like, I think a lot of these guys are fine. That's just how I feel about it, though. Maybe I'm bugging. Maybe none of them call. I just started, and I'll fucking
start conning them. Cease
for 7 months.
Nah, well, Cease is gonna contest him. Cease is gonna drop on fucking Tayson day 1, Veno day 2. Let's teach him what the fucking NA goats have got, bro. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be spicy as. I'm excited. I mean, yeah, we're hyping it up for the content too. I'm talking about it because it's a talking point that other people care about, and it's good content. But let's be real, they're the best players. They're gonna qual. Like, at least 3 of these teams are gonna qual. I'd be so surprised they don't.
I would love to see somebody do that. I would honestly love to do it myself. Just
do it,
everybody.
Go on,
do it there, bro. Give us the content. Go live.
I can't,
just
bro.
Go live. Drop on Clix and Veno. That never ends poorly.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Steve Boy. Appreciate it, though, bro.
Appreciate that. Did you have something else to say to wrap up? Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, after talking about it, I feel like I think 2 of them will definitely qual now that I think about what my statement was. But the major upset is I feel like a team that no one's had on their radar is going to end up stealing one of the qual spots.
Oh, for sure, for sure. With top 10, there's gonna be some crazy ones. Like, I'm fully so gassed for like full. I don't even want it to be like the Bryson Bolts that I normally talk about, like teams that where if you follow, you know. I want it to be like absolute nobodies, which sounds so bad, but I want it to be some full underrated, someone to come through and take like a 13th or something. We'll see. Like this Cease Jack guys, like fucking. Imagine they come through and pull something off. It'd be crazy.
No, that's
it'd be
serious.
It'd be pretty sick, you know. Dude, I can't believe we talked about all this and didn't talk about Pink and Marrow. Like, or didn't
I know.
Pink and Marrow.
I left Pink Marrow with this one off a little bit as well. I did leave Pink and Marrow only because Pink and Marrow is like a question mark one for me as well. Dude, they were struggling yesterday on stream, and then we're like, yo, we got to lock in. I was like, oh, bro, Pink not streaming. That's crazy. And, you know, like, what difference does it make? Then they fucking win the next, like, 2 or 3 games, win the whole tournament. I'm like, yo, sick, okay. Like, Marrow just hates streaming, apparently. Like, everyone's going to say it's suspicious and, like, they're cheating and stuff. Marrow's literally want to land, like, should be the furthest from suspicion. But at this point, like, it's just, what happens? Like, why is Marrow on stream just, like, a different player, apparently?
It is really cool to see Mero on stream. I'm like you're like watching a stream, you're skipping around VOD, like, wait, is that Mero talking? Like, dude, you like it's like he's like a ghost. Like you never see him play.
It feels weird, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it, man. I'm sticking your spicy take, bro. As soon as an EU player calls now, I'm gonna flame you in chat, just so you know I'm making you stick to the original take.
Oh no. Okay.
I'm glad we managed to convert him over the course of the conversation. That's really my favorite thing. Like I remember back when I would like watch HotlineFN when it was Tim and Bala. It's like watching somebody come in with a take and like Bala slowly talk them out of their take was always very satisfying. So I'm glad I
hit him with the facts.
Now that's my you know, that's my trophy for the day. I think that's it for callers today. For callers. It's been a fun one. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Cease
a lot of nostalgia
as our wonderful guest.
Thank you guys. It was awesome.
It's been fun.
Hey,
it's been fun. What are you up to over the next week? Where can the people find you and all that fun stuff?
Oh yeah, I'll be playing FNCS, so I won't be contesting any of the top teams. I'll be playing it, and I'll be streaming.
You be streaming. Oh, damn, hell yes. You're actually streaming FNCS as well. I mean, the one thing as well, I know everyone always get the chance to shout out, and they always feel bad shouting out too much. So, like, you see on all your socials, but your Discord, come on. You gotta let the people know, man. You're giving some crazy content. I feel like it's not getting out there as much as well, bro. So, like, what have we been cooking up in the Discord so you can tell the people?
Yeah, dude, I've been running Cease's Thesis. It's my educational series where I just hop in the Discord. Actually, yesterday was the first day back. I've took like a last season off, basically, but every Tuesday, 2 p.m. CST, we hop in the Discord, I VOD review, I answer questions live, all for free. Anybody can join. There's like 6,000 people in there. It's pretty cool. But then I have Cease's Thesis on YouTube where it's just educational, long form series, like hopping in a VOD review with me and my duo, record it, post it. You get to see what it's like to see a pro learn the game with him and his duo, or just me watching you, and it's great. So
I love
you. Good shit, bro. And chat, I've just done it in my Twitch chat again. You guys are watching a pre-recorded. Sorry, if you're in my Twitch chat, Chuck needs to follow, show him some love on Twitch. It's some very, very cool content. Getting coaching content from one of the goats is awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cease. Appreciate your time, man.
Ozzy, the same for yourself then. What were you up to? What you got planned now?
It's FNCS, man. I'm doing DGen 14-hour streams. You already fucking know, dude. Like, it's FNCS. I'll be live. Everyone knows where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be locked in this room. I know. I'm starting at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. for EU finals is when I'm starting. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. It's one day a week. I'll do it. 3 a.m. to 1 a.m. It is what it is.
When you get tired of that, bro, hit me up. I got you, bro. I'll do that.
Oh, damn, dude. For you. Oh, we got this, man. We'll switch it up when I'm ready to pass the torch on. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. I want to wake up at 10 a.m. and go live for NA. Sweet.
Yeah, I don't know how you'll chat with. I don't know if they'd be able to handle me, man. I get wild with you.
They would love it.
It'll be good. FNCS is going to be fun, especially in NA. I can't wait for this cash cup, honestly. The time needs to hurry up. Yeah, it's going to be very, very soon. So be sure to hang around here in Ozzy's stream because he's going to stay live and watch the cash cup. But I think we're gonna wrap things up there from my side of things. Yeah, man, I'm just out here. I appreciate you all for this love and support. Be sure to check out all the guys, and we'll see you very, very soon. Peace out.